This is Hino's Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. All right, y'all. We're gonna get right into it, man. We got a lot to talk about. We definitely want to talk about Pascal Siakam. We're gonna talk about LeBron James, and we're gonna talk about Kevin Durant, amongst other things that's going on with the NBA. Basically, you guys know NBA season starts October 22nd, so basically it's around the clock. So we're gonna wait for people to get up in here, and then we're gonna go from there. So let me get those evites in. And we're gonna get this panel going. We're gonna get this thing started, man. You know what I'm saying? But Pascal Siakam, man, this dude right here, $32.5 million. And he's averaging how many points per game? 16.9, 6.9 rebounds, 3.1 assists, and he deserves $32.5 million. They're just handing out checks to anybody these days. That's ridiculous. Y'all hit that thumbs up. Jay Cooley, what's up, man? What's going on, family? What's good? Yeah, we're gonna talk some b-ball right now, man. I don't know if you're down to talk b-ball, but definitely down to talk some basketball real quick. We got to get that in there real quick, man. But yeah, I mean, how is this man worth $32.5 million? This is why in the next collective bargaining agreement in 2023, 2024, they're going to revisit a whole lot of stuff, man. They're going to change a whole lot of things around when it comes to NBA basketball players, man. They're going to ensure that these guys are not getting overly paid. I mean, it's ridiculous to be making that kind of money. It's insane. For what? What kind of production did Pascal Siakam? I mean, the guy's name doesn't even sound like a superstar name, let alone him being, a guy worth $32.5 million. This is what he's getting. $130 million deal over a 4-year extension. Really? So now they just giving everybody $130-something million. What's up, Richie? Rich, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? What's up, P knows? I'm all right. Doing okay. How you doing?
Chilling, man. Yeah, I'm getting right into it, man. I want us to talk about Pascal Siakam, man. This guy, I know you saw it. I put it on the community post. This guy got $130 million 4-year extension. That's $32.5 million a year for the next 4 years. So I want your take on it, man. Is this guy worth that contract? I mean, it's ridiculous that guy's even making that much money.
Uh, well, I see what Messiah Uri is doing, but yeah, I kind of got turned. I kind of got a little hurt when I saw that he got that deal yesterday because I mean he was able to do a lot of the things that he was able to do because Kawhi was on the court, man. You can't just gift a player that kind of contract because I mean he was a contributor on the championship team. He's now going to be the #1 guy on this basketball team. Give him a season to prove that he can hold the fort. You know, you out here just giving a player like this who was a support player a contract that size, that massive, and he hasn't shown that he could run the ship yet. He got to show that he can get Toronto Raptors into the postseason. He can make them relevant as Pascal Siakam being the numero uno guy. You can't just reward these guys just because they were a piece to a championship. It's ridiculous. I understand him giving Kyle Lowry that deal because Kyle Lowry's been on that team for a long time, and he played well in the champion. He played well in the championships. Plus, he's been on those teams that have not been able to get over the hump. They've gone to the Eastern Conference Finals. They've gone deep, but they just needed that one player like Kawhi to help them get over the hump and actually win a title. So I understand him giving Lowry that $31 million 1 year, $31 million deal that he gave him extension. But Pascal, Pascal, you gotta at least wait a season. This season has to be the season. You gotta observe how he plays, how he is able to keep this team into contention. If he's able to, have this team get into the postseason, he's worth a deal like that because he's shown that he can still keep the team competitive. So, and he's kind of young too. So, I wouldn't mind giving him a deal like that because the team is not has not completely fell off. He's still keeping us competitive. Yeah, we're not a contender, but we're still in the playoffs. All we got to do is make moves, put some players around him, build around him, and then we can get right back into the thick of things. But to give him a contract like that right now, man, that can cripple your franchise because what if he turns out that he's not who they thought he was? I mean, they have high hopes on him. They see how he plays. They think that he can be that player for him, but we gotta see, man. So, but Masai Uri should have pumped the brakes on that, man. He should have just been a little more patient to see if this kid really is worth that money, man. I'm done.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. You had
All right.
yourself on mute.
The chat hear me now? Okay, I see. I see. Okay, so I was muted. All right. Hold on one second. All right, y'all. My bad. Had the duty called real quick. Anyways, yeah, this guy is averaging 16.9 points per game. He's averaging 6.9 rebounds and 3.1 assists. In the playoffs, he averaged 19.1 and he averaged 7.1 rebounds. Even in those 24 game stretch, you can account for a guy having those numbers and is worth $32.5 million. The only thing that I could think of in my mind, and the only thing that I can think of is the fact that when you sit there and you look at the team itself, Kawhi Leonard left. They no longer have him. So this is the only justification that I could see of why this guy's making the money that he's making, if that makes sense. Because they need another guy that they don't want to leave the team. And they just basically are saying to themselves, we're going to bank everything on Pascal Siakam because nobody wants to come and play for the Toronto Raptors. Let's keep it a buck. With Kawhi Leonard leaving that team the way that he did, it sent a rippling effect. It sent a message that although he won an NBA championship, he's not willing to stay there. And it's just because of the fact that they are the Toronto Raptors. This is a team that, you know, they're going to win a title once every 100 years. You know what I'm saying? One in a century. So Pascal Siakam, when you look at what he brings to the table in terms of his name, when you look at what he brings to the table in terms of his game, he's not a superstar athlete. You know, whatever happened to those days where guys score anywhere between 23 and up, you know what I'm saying, have 5.5 assists and up, 5.5 rebounds and up, and then are also an all defensive team player. You know what I'm saying? They can play both sides of the floor to justify them making $30+ million a year. You know, these are players that usually are transformational players in the league. Now everyone is getting that. And that's why this TV deal and the way that the salary cap is currently structured right now is crippling to the NBA, because when 2023, 2024 comes around, there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to say, you know what, might need to revisit how much money we're actually paying these NBA players, because we feel that they're making too much money. I think that's what's going to happen. I think there's going to be a revisiting. There's going to be a changing of guards when it comes to this. So when you sit there and you look at what Pascal Siakam, you know what I'm saying, brings to the table in terms of him as a player, he's not worthy of that contract. And that contract was gifted to him because Kawhi Leonard is no longer there. And that's the only thing that I could wrap my brain around when I think of Siakam. Exactly. Like Ben Castro said, he's more of a role player. This is a guy who is a high level 3 option, possibly a borderline 2 option. So how can you wrap your brain around this guy having the contract that he has? I mean, it just makes absolutely no sense to me. When I saw this, I was just like, what the heck is going on here? What are they doing? But that's what's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? That's the NBA we're in right now. This modern day NBA is, it doesn't matter the skill set. It doesn't matter what you bring to the table in terms of the floor. It just matters what, you know, they want to keep on the basketball floor so that they could keep people in the seats, if that makes sense. I think that's what we're dealing with now in terms of NBA, this modern day NBA. So do you have anything else you want to say on this topic, or, you know what I'm saying, you want to move on?
I mean, it's like how you said, that you could kind of see this uh this trend going on now with Buddy Hield, the shooting guard on the Sacramento Kings, where he came out and he was talking to the media, man, and he was like, he was pissed off that he got a contract for what, 80 or 90 million dollars. He thinks he's worth 100 plus million. I mean, what have you done in this league, buddy? We know you a good shooter and all that, but what have you done in this league? Have you brought Sacramento Kings to the playoffs? I mean, you guys got a nice, solid young team over there, but it's like these players are expecting more for doing less. The NBA is getting crazy, man. These guys are getting $100 million contracts, uh, and they haven't done anything. They haven't won a Rookie of the Year award. They haven't gotten an NBA first team Rookie of the Year. They haven't gotten a first team All Defense. Their stats are not that impressive. I mean, it's just these guys are getting more for less. I'm not hating on these players. The game is the game. The contracts they're getting are the contracts they're getting, but it's gonna hurt the game eventually when that CBA comes around and those owners have to negotiate with those players again. I think the owners are gonna win, man. They're gonna win by more of a percentage this time because they're looking at everything, man. They're looking at everything now, and especially with this whole China debacle, with them not being involved with NBA as much. They're saying that the salary cap is going to go down by like 10 or 15 million dollars. So that's going to affect things. If they can't repair their deal with China. So I want to see how these NBA players are going to continue getting this kind of money, man. If they can't perform, or if they're not really a star player, we're going to see. It's going to be interesting.
So what's your take on Harden and Westbrook, man, with the Houston Rockets? How do you feel about that?
After watching some of these these preseason games, man, with Harden, it's like he's playing the same way with Westbrook on the floor, man. And he has to be willing to. Both these guys got to remember I know they're trying to fill each other out, but this pretty much their last chance. They have to. Both of these guys got to be willing to sacrifice. They can't approach this game the same way that they were playing, man, when they had their respective teams, when they were in charge of things. I see Harden still doing his step back threes, still always having the ball in his hands. Westbrook is being the one playing off ball more. It just doesn't make sense. James Harden is a 6'5" guard who's pretty big. He should be down low, man, operating the low post, getting other looks, not just settling for 3-point step back 3-point shots. Playing the same way. It's ridiculous. This looks like if this continues, what I've seen in preseason, it's gonna be a disaster, man. If these guys are not willing to change their games, guys, where they're willing to do different things on the floor, it's gonna be a disaster. It's gonna be a disaster in the making. They both can't come to this season playing selfishly like they have in the past. But Harden just always has the ball in his hands. He's doing the step back three like 15 16 times a game. And Westbrook, man, I mean, he just looks out of place because he's playing off ball. He's a point guard. But Harden is the one with the ball in his hands. Basically, Westbrook is gonna have to be the guy that makes something happen by playing the give and go, cutting to the basket. You can't play like that, man. I don't think it's gonna work if they play like that. They're gonna have to. Mike D'Antoni is gonna have to give these guys different looks. That's how I look at it.
Well, and this is why I said that, I'm saying in previous videos where I mentioned that, when you look at the combination of Russell Westbrook and James Harden, they had a 50-50 situation. They could either be a dominant duel or they could be an undominant duel. And the truth of the fact of the matter is they are not a dominant dynamic duel because James Harden, I said he has to be the one to defer. It's interesting time. And let me read what Ben Castro said. He said, my prediction on Harden and Westbrook tandem, they will produce a lot in the regular season by putting up numbers, but come playoff time, they're going to struggle. I could dig with that. James Dag said, Harden must be the first option. I Love Game said, I'm going to read everyone's first, and then I'm going to delve into me. Harden and Westbrook are playing the you go, then I go game. Yep, while the rest of the team stands around and watch. And then Marcus Heriot said, they should move Harden to the 2 guard. Here's the thing. That's the point that I was trying to harp on here. James Harden is going to have to play the what we call original or what we call organic version of what a 2 guard looks like. Basically, like the way Kobe Bryant plays it, the way Michael Jordan plays it. He's going to have to play it that way, where he does not have the ball in his hands and he has somebody that brings the ball up the floor for him. And then basically what he's doing on his end is he's basically he's basically operating, from 15 feet and in. James Harden's going to have to get away from him being this player that has to have the ball in his hands for 18 seconds. And then after he figures out for 18 seconds, he doesn't know what to do. Then he realizes, oh, okay, screw that. I'm going to divvy the basketball to whomever. Like you can't play basketball like that. It's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. What's up, Marcus Heriot, man? That's what's up. You're my brother too, man. It's basically the definition of insanity. I'm going to say it again, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. How can you sit there and expect a different result when your game is tailor-made for you to basically clog up the possession? A lot of isolation playing. I told you guys this was going to be a more poor man's version of what Westbrook and Durant was prior to that. The difference is James Harden is nowhere near the player that Kevin Durant is in terms of what he brings to the table. So we already know with James Harden, this guy, he succumbs to the pressure in the postseason. This is why I call him the Tony Romo, aka the Zab Judah of basketball, because when the pressure arises, he chokes all over the place. You know what I'm saying? He's just not built for the postseason. He's a regular season player. And when Kobe Bryant sneak dissed him that year the way he did, when he said the way that James Harden played, matter of fact, it wasn't a sneak diss. It was actually a diss. The way that James Harden plays is not going to translate well into the postseason. Kobe Bryant was right on the money because if Kobe himself, couldn't translate his game, which his game is a lot more efficient than a James Harden in terms of his total package and what he brings to the table. If Kobe couldn't do it, how can James Harden be able to do it? And what the Houston Rockets have to realize is Westbrook is an alpha dog personality. I've been saying this from the jump. If they want this to succeed, then they're going to have to accept the fact that Russell Westbrook has to be that guy that's going to have to run the floor in terms of floor generalship. He's going to have to be the one to get people involved. He's going to have to be the one to do distribution. He's the one that's going to have to be able to do the high assist ratio component because this man has been averaging triple doubles for numerous seasons right now. Numerous. So why is he not the one bringing the ball up the floor? This makes absolutely no sense to me. This is basketball heresy on so many levels. Now you're telling Russell Westbrook, a guy who's used to being a point guard all his NBA career, even in college, even prior to that, him, oh no, we want you to play off the ball. How's that going to be successful? How's that going to translate to success? Oh, James Harden, we want you to figure everything out. I said it, man. And this is the thing. when I say things, people always like, man, you always talking crazy, but people realize the prediction king element behind what I say, because everything I always say comes to pass. I told you guys, James Harden has to defer to Russell Westbrook's in terms of floor generalship. He's going to have to defer. He's going to have to be that player that's going to have to play off the ball. And it's not like he can't do it, because he did it once upon a time ago in OKC. He did it. He played off of the ball there. Yeah, he was the third option, but he played off of the ball. No one's saying that he doesn't have to. No one is saying that he has to regress to a second option. I'm not saying that. He's still going to be the guy, but he has to be the guy off of the ball. This is what Kevin Durant did with the Golden State Warriors. This is what makes a player like a Kevin Durant so dynamic, because Kevin Durant can play on the ball and he can play off the ball. Russell Westbrook is a guy that has to have the ball in his hand. He's a ball clogger, and he's a ball stopper, and he's an isolation type of player. This is why defenses are able to own in on him and they're able to shut him down. But Russell Westbrook, his motor, the way he moves when he's playing the game and he's clicking on all cylinders, he's getting everybody involved. And he's doing this even better than James Harden. James Harden is more like LeBron James, where his stats looks like it's good, but there's more than meets the eye behind those stats. Because when you really dig deep, you see a bunch of smoke and mirrors there. That's the thing with James Harden and LeBron James. Whereas with Russell Westbrook, it actually translates to them pushing the agenda and them staying within the pack of the game. The problem with Russell Westbrook is because he has an alpha personality, and even though he's masquerading it as a high octane beta, because that's what he is at his truest and his most properest levels, right? He doesn't know when to stop being Russell Westbrook. The very thing that makes Russell Westbrook good is also the thing that cripples him. And what makes him good is his high motor, right? He has a high engine. He's always there. He's always going to give you his all. He's always going to go for broke. But the problem with Russell Westbrook, he does this in excess. So what he's going to have to do is cut some of that back if they're going to be successful. Still be Russell Westbrook, but not be a full-time Russell Westbrook. Cut that thing into excess. James Harden, on the other hand, is going to have to play off of the ball. If they don't make this adjustment, they don't make this switch, then it goes back to my full prediction of how this tandem is going to work. It's going to be a full and complete utter disaster, because these two guys are playing this you go, I go, just like they said in the chat. Your turn, my turn. Anything you can do, I can do better. You can't play basketball like that, man. Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant tried to play basketball like that, and what did it get them? They had a 3-1 lead. A 3-1 lead, and the 3-1 lead ended up turning out to be what? A bounce out of the playoffs, because the Golden State Warriors were able to come back. You know why? Because the Golden State Warriors ran a more efficient system, strength in numbers. Everyone was getting involved. You know, when you play a team concept and you play a team basketball game, that always beats two great players that play isolation basketball. We've seen this happen before. Kobe and Shaq versus the Detroit Pistons. Why did that Detroit Pistons team win? Because that Detroit Pistons team played a full team basketball. Did they have anybody on that team that was more talented than a Kobe Bryant and a Shaquille O'Neal? No. But because they played team basketball at its truest and its most properest levels, they were able to win. The San Antonio Spurs, when they beat those Kobe and Shaq teams. See, this stuff has happened. We've seen this before. The Dallas Mavericks, you know what I'm saying? JJ Barrera, Deshaun Stevenson, Sean Marion, Jason Terry. Look at that squad. How you think they were able to dispatch a LeBron James, a Dwayne Wade, and a Chris Bosh? They were able to dispatch them because they played a team basketball game. They followed Rick Carlisle's scheme to the T. And the problem with the Houston Rockets is you can't have two players that are not committing themselves to the T of Mike D'Antoni's system, because Mike D'Antoni's system was the Golden State Warriors system before Golden State Warriors was enacted. It's about getting everybody involved. It's about ball distribution. It's about moving the narrative. It's about pushing, going into transition. You can't play that way, right? If you don't have two of your best players on the floor buying into the system. And see, it's a monkey see, monkey do. People forget this in basketball. The monkey see, monkey do element is if your star players and your leaders, right, on the team are not investing themselves, then everyone else is going to follow suit. That's just the way basketball works at its truest and its most properest levels. You got to have your leaders buy into the system, because once your leaders buy in, everyone else is going to buy in. It's going to be a rippling effect. It's going to be like a domino effect. It's going to go down. But it has to start with James Harden, and it has to start with Russell Westbrook. They both have to make a commitment to say, you know what? The way we've been playing basketball has not worked before. We're going to have to change some things around, because what they're doing is they are embodying the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, because you're not going to get a different result. As a matter of fact, you're going to get more of the same. You're going to get more of consistency. What's up, Freddie Gee? Let me read some of the chat. James Dag said the Harden comparison to LeBron is a very valid point. Great analysis. He knows. That's what's up. James Dag said, let's see. Ben Castro said Mike D'Antoni system is all offense but no defense. That's facts. Freddie Gee said James Harden cannot hold bronze jockstrap. Stop it. I guess Richie Rich and Freddie Gee about to get into it soon. Ben Castro said, what up, man? Freddie Gee said, what's good? He knows the sport. Freddie Gee, what's good with you, man? You always live up the chat, boy. We know you always live it up with that LBJ apologist, LBJ stands nonsense. Marcus Hirio, you say your phone went dead. Okay, that's what's up, fam. But hopefully you got it on the charger. But yeah, let me just drive this point home, and then I'm gonna let you run with it, Rich. The thing is, when you look at what they bring to the table, I agree. James Harden and Russell Westbrook are not defensive players. They are defensively irresponsible. And y'all need to know, He Knows the Sport was the first person that coined that term. So if y'all hear anybody saying defensively irresponsible, that's because He Knows the Sport said that. Okay. You know, it's a tendency when He Knows the Sport uses a saying, people love it and they run with it. So if y'all hear that defensively irresponsible, it's because they probably heard me say it so many times and they're saying it now and they're using it in all other aspects. So these two are what we call defensively irresponsible. They're defensively allergic to defense. Mike D'Antoni's system is perfect for these two because they don't freaking play defense. What Mike D'Antoni is going to have to do is get all of these other players, you know what I'm saying, around that can play some damn defense so that the team can excel. Because if you remember those old Phoenix Suns teams, right, when they had Steve Nash and they had Amari Stoudemire. Amari Stoudemire was a defensively sound player. This is why they went far. They had Sean Marion. Sean Marion could play freaking defense. You remember those teams? They had Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson could play freaking defense. This is why those teams went far, because they had defensively sound players to offset Steve Nash's defensive incapabilities, because Steve Nash cannot play defense. And this is what you're going to have to do. And when you look at the Houston Rockets, they got some players on that team that can play defense. The question is Russell buy into the system and turn things around? So with that being said, I want to know, do you have a second comment that you want to add into this, Richie Rich?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said about James Harden and Russell Westbrook and the whole dynamic of how they're gonna have to run their offense, where James is gonna have to play like a conventional shooting guard, and Westbrook's gonna have to be the one to actually be the point guard on his team. I saw a comment from what's his name, James Dags.
James Dags, yep.
Yeah, where he said that if Westbrook can be the passer, then it can actually be work and be a little more interesting. But yeah, Westbrook has the ability to do that because he was doing that in OKC.
There you go. I'm giving you a comment right now. There you go. That's the comment.
If he can be the pass first on the Rockets, could be interesting. He actually did that last year with Paul George, where he allowed Paul George to be the first option in scoring, and he was passing more. The problem was Westbrook was having one of his worst shooting percentages ever in his career last year. So Westbrook has to be a better shooter at that spot. So he just can't be a pass first, because in this time of an era of the league, you got to be a point guard that can actually shoot and make shots. So In that system that D'Antoni's running, Westbrook has to hit shots. You know, he can be effective getting to the rim, cutting to the rim, or doing give and goes to the basket, but he's gonna have to be able to hit shots. You know, because when you look at who they have on the floor, I mean, PJ Tucker can hit the corner three. James Harden can hit the occasional three, but they don't really have many shooters in the starting rotation. So Westbrook's gonna have to be able to score off those looks that he gets when James Harden draws in a double team. Uh, but he didn't really shoot the ball well. So if he can't do that, then they're not gonna really have success there. Uh, Also, I want to, Freddie G made a comment about James Harden not being able to hold LeBron's jockstrap. I give you that. Yeah, LeBron is a more accomplished player. He has the accolades and everything. You know, he's a more dominant player than James Harden. But just look at it from this sense, man. He was able to push that Golden State Warriors team to 7 games. That team that had Kevin Durant and he only had Chris Paul. I recall LeBron having Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, and solid role players, and he only got 5 games on that Warriors team, man. You know, does that make LeBron James a little overrated, overhyped a little? Kind of, man. But because James Harden was able to get more, he was able to push that Warriors team, uh, to 7 games, man. LeBron wasn't able to even get 2 games out of that team. So LeBron is the better player. I give you that. But other NBA players, just imagine if they had more talent on their team, what they would be able to do. These other players in the league have not played with the talent that LeBron has played with in the last 10 years, man. So you gotta look at it. It always makes me ponder. It always makes me think. If James Harden had this talent, look what Kevin Durant did when he went to go surround himself around some talented players. He won back-to-back championships. He possibly would have had a three-peat if he didn't get hurt. No, I'm not gonna say possibly. I'm gonna say yeah, he would have had a three-peat if he didn't get hurt. That's a fact. Cause when that boy stepped out there, even with his injury, he looked like he was gonna be a problem for Toronto. So we gotta look at it like this, man. We can't belittle these other guys. LeBron has played with some really good talent, man. And these other players haven't been able to play with the talent that LeBron has played with in the last decade. So let's chill with that for a minute. Yeah, LeBron's a better player, but if these other players got to play with the talent he had, they would have championship rings too.
That's
So it's
facts.
what it is. But yeah, back to the James Harden and the Russell Westbrook. Both these guys are gonna have to play conventional positions for them to have a chance, and they gotta be able to defend. If these guys can't defend with their positions, they don't have a chance. Yeah, because we know Mike D'Antoni's system is offensive oriented. It doesn't focus on defense, but they have to defend. They have to be able to defend. You got to get stops because you look at that conference. They're gonna have to play teams night in and night out that can score the ball as well. You got to play against the Lakers, the Clippers, the Denver Nuggets, the Portland Trailblazers. The who else? I know I'm missing some teams. The Pelicans. The Every night is gonna be a dogfight. The I'm trying to bring up more teams. It's just so many of them that are going to be competitive this year in the Western Conference. But every day, every game is going to be a dogfight that they got to play in the Western Conference. Even the bottom feeders got some teams that are going to make you work. So if those two can't defend at their respective positions, that team don't got a chance because they only got PJ Tucker, who's their perimeter defender. They're thin. They lost Gerald Green. He's out for the year because he messed up his leg. They're very thin on perimeter defenders that they have on that team. Unless somebody emerges that can help out with defense. So we'll see. But right now I don't like how they're playing, how they played in preseason, man, because they look more the same from the previous years. There has to be a change on how that team plays. That's the only way I see them having a chance.
So address that question that Freddie Yee just asked you because I put it up for a little bit.
Okay. Yes, James Harden lost the series because he made stupid decisions down in that game 7. They had that game, man, but he kept shooting threes. The end result was that yeah, they lost. If you lose a series, doesn't mean you won. But James Harden was able to bring that Golden State Warrior team to 7 games. That was a team that LeBron felt that he didn't have no chance of beating. But James Harden and Chris Paul were able to push that team to 7 games. Does that make LeBron James a little overhyped in my view? Yes, it does. Because he just automatically gave because he saw KD and he felt that he could only win 1 game against that dude. He shouldn't even won that game because you saw that game. If you guys remember that game, that game was heavily officiated for the Cavs. They were calling some bogus calls. So LeBron pretty much should have got swept both years. So you got to chill with all this, man. Some of these other NBA stars, if they had the talent that guys played with the last decade, they would have rings right now, man. So you got to chill with that, Freddie.
All right. Well, Lewis, I'm gonna let you jump in, man. Just a quick recap. We're talking about a few topics, man. The first topic was basically us just going into Pascal Siakam and the overinflated contract that they gave him. I mean, I understand why they did it because they no longer have Kawhi Leonard, and he's the next best thing on the sliced bread. But I just think that he's way, way overly paid. $32.5 million a year for the next 4 years. That's just crazy. And I just feel like this is the reason why come 2023, 2024, when that next collective bargaining agreement come around, they're going to revisit some things because I just feel like players that are not giving you the production that is worthy of the money is actually making an insane amount of money. And that's just something that I figured I needed to start off with. And then we went into the second topic, which was James Harden and Russell Westbrook. And basically what we're seeing is the definition of insanity, more of the same. You know what I'm saying? And it's just weird that Westbrook is out there playing off of the ball, which I knew that wasn't going to work. And James Harden is basically being the same iteration of him. If you recall some weeks ago, I was saying that James Harden would need to be a conventional two guard and Russell Westbrook would need to be the floor general in order for them to succeed. Or in order for them to really implement and push that Mike D'Antoni system, because Russell Westbrook is excellent in the transition and Mike D'Antoni system is all transition related. So I just want you to kind of delve in your, brilliant mind and give a explanation on those two topics, man. What's your take on it?
All right, hold on a sec, real quick. Give me 1 sec. Thank you. Well, first of all, before I get started, once again, man, shout out to He Knows the Sport, shout out to Richie Rich, and once again, shout out to the mods, man, holding it down, and shout out to the chat, man. I truly appreciate you guys. I appreciate my man Ben Castro, who just told me he subbed to my channel, man. I truly appreciate it. Thank you, brother. And just continue to share the content again. So, starting with Pascal Siakam, to be honest with you, listen, he may not be worth the money. But you know how the saying goes in today's league now, it's not how much you're worth, it's how much you negotiate. And what that pretty much basically says is he pretty much got himself a nice contract for $130 million. Now, is he worth it? I'm going to obviously say no. But at the same time, it's like, he's getting paid. Now, what he has to do is he has to perform himself and make sure he doesn't get injured. Because once the injury starts to happen, then that's going to be a problem to where he, end up getting traded. But at the same time, it's going to be, that he's still getting paid. And listen, Pascal Siakam is not a superstar. He's just, I don't even know if he's a talented player and he's very versatile. But I don't think he's at that point that he's even worth $130 million, especially considering the fact that this was his best season was just this past season. Now, I got to see more from him for me to say that he's worth it. But again, this was negotiated. We have to understand the CBA in this time period. So a lot of guys are getting these big contracts. And you look at today and you're probably like, this guy's not worth this kind of money. Look, a lot of players back in the day that used to play are worth the money that they are today. Like a lot of superstars back then. It's part of the reason why a lot of guys are jealous about today in terms about the money, the money aspect in the league. But Siakam, he got his contract and congratulations. Now we're going to see what he can do. I just don't see him as the face of right now he's the face of the franchise. I don't really see him again, doing as much. I just have to wait and see. He's going to have to really expand his game for me to say that he's actually worth every bit of that $130 million. But, we won't know. So that's just going to be on Siakam. I just know that the Raptors are going to be stuck with that contract if he's constantly injury prone, or he doesn't show that he's really capable of, you know, performing at the level that says, you know, this guy actually might be really something in this league. So yeah, he improved. We'll see how much he improves now throughout these 4 years. So we have to see it. And I still think that he, to me, is a complementary player, not the face of a franchise. See, he works best when he plays with Kawhi Leonard, because we saw what happened last year. Even when in the playoffs, there were at times where Siakam was not really confident in making decisions with the basketball. When the Sixers would actually start to double and even at times triple team Kawhi Leonard, especially with those high leverage moments. So, and I don't know what the Raptors are even going to do this year. They still have a good team. They have a good team. I just don't know if it's going to be playoff worthy. But like I said, with Siakam, we just got to wait and see with that contract. So enough on Siakam. Now, James Harden and Russell Westbrook. I know. Listen, they got a lot of question marks. I'm not trying to. This is a very dynamic duo, but we have to remember when they were in Oklahoma City, especially when they were playing with Kevin Durant. This is not the same Russell Westbrook and James Harden that we see right now currently. And like Rich pointed out, Russell Westbrook had one of his worst years of his career when we consider that at one time this guy was one of the best mid-range shooters in the game, said by many analysts. His field goal percentage, and he is a career 84% free throw shooter, but even his free throw percentage has gone down drastically the last 2 years. So we have to see if he has a bounce back season shooting from not only the mid range, but from the free throw line. And with James Harden, we have two ball dominant players, and we're in a Mike D'Antoni offense that's supposed to be known for ball movement. But last year, it was a very isolation, 3-ball heavy basketball. And we saw that didn't work when it came to going against high IQ basketball teams, especially when it came to down the stretch. See, that's my question with James Harden and Russell Westbrook. They're dynamic and they're talented. My question is, in high leverage moments, especially in the fourth quarter, is their IQ going to show through? Especially, I just don't know what kind of offense D'Antoni is going to be able to run with two guys that are known to have big egos, and they haven't been able to show that they can deliver when it comes to be able to be in crunch time. So that's my question, because the thing is, they actually have a good team. Now it's going to hurt that possibly Gerald Green is going to possibly be out with the season with the foot injury, so they're going to have to try to address that. I don't know how they're going to address that, so they got to look into that. But at the same time, also, what we have to understand is, I know Freddie was going to the point with saying that James Harden, doesn't hold a candle to LeBron, and that's absolutely true. Because James Harden, look at it. My thing is also, it's his mindset. This guy is still complaining about not having the MVP that Giannis Antetokounmpo won. At this point, and I said this already a couple of live streams ago, and I've even said it a couple of videos ago. James Harden, 2017, no Kawhi Leonard, no Tony Parker. You got blown out by 39 points at home. That was without two of San Antonio's best players in 2017. And that was in Game 6 in your house. You only took 11 shots. The very next year, I know Rich mentioned about, that the Rockets went 7 games with James Harden and Chris Paul getting injured in Game 5. The Rockets missed 27 straight threes. Mike D'Antoni failed to adjust. And once his system doesn't work, it's just for the hell of it. He's just praying and hoping that his system is able to pull through. That's my issue with D'Antoni. His system is not built for the playoffs, and he doesn't know how to adjust. He just rides or dies with his system. Just like how you ride and die with the 3-ball, you ride and die with the system in the playoffs. Here's the thing. Then you have last year. Freddie mentioned about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant got injured in Game 5. That was their opportunity to get that game. And I know Rocket fans and James Harden fans would have went crazy of how they beat the Warriors. The Warriors find a way to win that game. I'm like, okay. Now it's 3-2. You have two opportunities to win at home. There's no Kevin Durant. Steph Curry is having a miserable first half. Steph Curry is allowed to score 33 second-half points, and James Harden was nowhere to be found in the fourth quarter. Chris Paul doesn't get even a pass neither. He doesn't get a pass because Chris Paul didn't even show up neither. And a lot of Rockets fans were saying, well, Chris Paul showed up, James Harden showed up, and I keep saying That's all nice, but where was this all throughout the series? And if you remember, I'm not saying that the Rockets shouldn't have won game one of that series because they could have. But what did Chris Paul focus on that whole series? He tried to bait the referees constantly into trying to get the Warriors into foul trouble. He wanted every single call. At least James Harden made the adjustment to try to play through that. Chris Paul didn't do that. So that didn't work, and then they end up losing. Now you're trading a max player who's aging with a big contract with Russell Westbrook, another max player with a big contract. And because they're going off of he's younger. Remember, this guy is coming off of injury. Also, Russell Westbrook is coming off a knee injury, which he didn't really play well in that postseason series against Dame Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers. So the thing with the Rockets is they have a nice team. I just question the intelligence and the IQ of this team throughout a game and down the stretch. Like, what is it going to look like? How are they going to play off the ball with James Harden and Russell Westbrook? Who's going to really be the playmaker on this team? So that's the problem. They have a lot of question marks on this aspect. And that's the thing with the Houston Rockets. I just don't know. I question D'Antoni's system. And James Harden is trying to add all these little moves here, the whole one-legged three-pointer and all this kind of stuff. And then, and the thing is also, I have to question them defensively because even though James Harden has gotten better, and this is also where Russell Westbrook lacks IQ on the defensive end. He gets baited into individual matchups and trying to outshine the individual player. You saw what happened with Ricky Rubio when it was him and Paul George, and how Donovan Mitchell was able to dominate because he was so focused on Ricky Rubio, when in actuality, the Oklahoma City defense didn't focus on trying to stop Donovan Mitchell. He got to feast because Russell Westbrook focused on Ricky Rubio. And Ricky Rubio is not an offensive player. He's a playmaker, and he has good anticipation in terms of getting steals. But that's really much it. And his offense comes and goes because he's not an offensive player. Then he struggled, and then they ended up losing. And then this past season, he was focused on Dame Lillard and trying to win that individual matchup and get baited into the trash talking. See, that's where your IQ lacks in. You should be focusing on trying to beat the Portland Trailblazers, not focusing on trying to beat Damian Lillard. You make this in terms of an individual instead of trying to beat the team, 9 times out of 10 you're going to lose because that's where your IQ gets exposed. And once again in the fourth quarter, Russell Westbrook, he can play well throughout 3, but the fourth quarter is the most important thing. How many guys in this league, and you can say, wow, this guy has had a bad shooting night. Like, he didn't play well throughout the 3 quarters. But when it's money time, crunch time, your best players show up and show out 9 times out of 10. And that's what I question about Russell Westbrook and James Harden. It's their fourth quarter execution, their inability to play off the ball. Defensively, I got to see what they see. And then is Mike D'Antoni going to make the adjustment in the postseason? Because the regular season, it's all nice and all that. They're going to be judged more on the postseason because of the history that these two players have. These guys are 2 former MVPs. And when push comes to shove, they haven't been able to prove it. So that's my take on the Houston Rockets because they have a lot of question marks. And to me, the postseason is where I'm going to judge them, not the regular season. It's really more the playoffs. Can their game translate to the postseason? That's what I don't know.
That's a good one. So you done, Lewis?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. All right, we're going to clean up the chat real quick and address some of this. Freddie Yee said, partially some truth to that. I think he wants to be the man. Brian Knight said he deserves the contract, bro. You're looking at the situation, not the player. But here's the thing, Brian Knight. This man is making $32.5 million. Just wrap that around your brain for the next 4 years. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous sum, a ridiculous amount of money. And I agree with Lewis when he talked about the offensive side of the basketball, when he said, the defensive side where with Mike D'Antoni, you know what I'm saying? Mike D'Antoni's offense, his whole system is not conducive for the playoffs. So now you have that system that's not conducive, and then you got 2 players that are not conducive for the playoffs. That just spells disasters on top of disaster on top of disaster. So I just feel like if they're going to have some moderate success, I just don't see them being a team that's going to win a championship. I know Sean O said I could see them winning a title, you know what I'm saying, next year or the year after. I just don't see them winning nothing. But what I do see them is going far into the playoffs if Russell Westbrook can be that floor general and James Harden can be a conventional 2. I've seen James Harden play off the ball before. This is not something that I have not seen before. This is something that I have seen when he played with the Oklahoma City Thunder. But obviously he was a number 3 option at that time. Yeah, I'm excited for the season, Omar. Damn right I'm excited, man. I'm extremely excited for this season because I feel like it's going to separate the strong from the weak. I mean, it's right around the corner, man. October 22nd is kickoff. So we're going to see some teams really excel, and we're going to see some teams really show their true colors, man. And they're really going to not play up to par. But I agree with what everyone said here on the panel. And then we're going to fast forward, man. We're going to move on to the next topic. Let's talk about LeBron James, man. You know, I kind of went back in time a little bit, and I want everyone's take on this because I want everyone's uniqueness to add to it. I went back, you know what I'm saying, on a community post, and then I kind of talked about it in a video where I talked about Kevin Durant and how, you know, his 35-foot crooked little eye, you know what I'm saying, dagger shot on LeBron James was the changing of guards officially. That's when LeBron James no longer was the best player in the league. He was supplanted at that point. It was reminiscent of what Michael Jordan did when he to Magic Johnson, you know, and then he just supplanted and took over. So I really want to know what's your take. I want everybody to kind of delve in. This topic might make Freddie Gee a little hot and bothered like grits, but hey, you know, what is this chat without, you know, people getting hot and bothered like grits? So, you know what I'm saying? So I really want to know what's your take on it, Richie Rich. I want to let you start off. What's your take on that? You know what I'm saying? And LeBron James being a cowardice or a coward and pushing guys like Rodney Hood and J.R. Smith to guard Kevin Durant. And if you're supposedly the best player in the planet, right, you're going to either guard the guy the entire game or you're going to guard him in key stretches. You know what I'm saying? Like what Michael Jordan or what a Kobe Bryant used to do. So I want your take on it, man, or what Kawhi Leonard is doing these days. What's your take on LeBron James and his overratedness on the defensive end, and your take on that moment when Kevin Durant shot that shot on LeBron James and basically let everyone know that he arrived and basically said, okay, you can't guard me. I've supplanted you. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think that was Durant needed that moment, man, because that was a huge. I was waiting for Durant. Durant was showing him up in that series uh multiple times already in the series because he was burning right by LeBron James. He was you know, he had moments where he was scoring effortlessly, but he ain't needed that moment where he made a dagger shot on that dude's grill. And that moment, you know, let everyone know, hey man, this is the guy, man. This is the guy that is the best in the game right now. You know what I'm saying? Because LeBron can't stop this guy head for head. LeBron can get his little stats and all that, but KD gets this thing effortlessly. He's the type of player he can score. He could do the same thing LeBron could do without having to work as hard as LeBron because he gets his points easily. He gets his point. He's a walking 50, 40, 90 player. LeBron can wish to be that. You know what I'm saying? And when LeBron had to face that, you know LeBron was not going to be able to guard that. You know, he was going to get shown up. LeBron is obviously, you know, overrated on the defensive end, especially like I always say, when to beat LeBron James, you have to have a team that can pass the ball well. You have to have a team that has or you can have a team that has a small forward on the other end that can match what he matches, and he feels that he has to work harder. If you have a team that doesn't have an opposing small forward that could make him play, defense, then he's gonna have an advantage over you. You could just see it. You know, all the teams that have challenged him and all the teams that he have lost to, Dallas Mavericks, uh, the Golden State Warriors, the let's what other team that he's lost to? Dallas Mavericks, Golden State Warriors, San Antonio Spurs. Those teams are all those teams that had a confident small forward that have made him have to work for his baskets, and that also he had to play on the defensive side of the basketball. His defense got exposed pretty much. Andre Iguodala was making shots. LeBron was, and he was playing hard-nosed defense on LeBron. Kawhi Leonard was scoring on LeBron, and he was playing hard-nosed defense on LeBron. KD was scoring on LeBron effortlessly. You know, although and Iguodala was the one that was guarding him, LeBron James couldn't stop KD. Every time he had a chance to go out there and show that he could, okay, let me see if I could stop this guy. Maybe I'll give my team confidence, instill confidence that we can stop what the Warriors are doing. He couldn't do it. KD showed him up every time. And I think KD was waiting on that moment. Every time he saw LeBron, he went after LeBron just to let him know, hey man, you're not number one, you're not numero uno anymore. I'm gonna do you in every time. And it showed the year after when LeBron had that opportunity to stop KD from making a dagger again. He let Rodney Hood, he let J.R. Smith handle that situation because he didn't want to get shown up again. Because he already got shown up the year before where KD made that dagger three in his face, and again he don't want to get a dagger three in his grill again. But this time KD shot the ball even further. So that lets you know, man, LeBron James, he's been overrated on defense for a lot of years. He hasn't played defense at a high level since his days in Miami. But it was more so other players being able to play defense at a high level around him too that made him be able to be able to play better. Because Jamal Chalmers was a competent NBA player. Dwayne Wade was a competent NBA player. Udonis Haslem was a competent NBA player. Chris Bosh became a really good NBA player playing in that Miami Heat system. He was a big that was able to rotate and defend off a pick and roll. When you got a big that could do that, man, it makes your team harder. It makes your team harder to score on when you got a big that can rotate because now he could switch off point guard. People don't realize they just said that okay, LeBron was supposed to be some dudes. You hear some dudes talk some asinine stuff saying LeBron was supposed to win a defensive player of the year playing in Miami. No, he wasn't. He had really good players that could play defense around him in that Miami system. And that Miami Heat system thrived. Miami is always a tough-nosed defensive team. You know, they may not have a team that can contend, but they always have a team that can play defense at a high level. You got to work when you come to play Miami. You may beat them, but you always have to grind it out against them in some games. And that team had the personnel to help LeBron James look really good on the defensive end to where they were talking about, oh, LeBron could play all 5 positions. No, that's not true because he has players that can allow him to switch off and play certain positions at some points. But LeBron couldn't play all 5 positions. That's how it is. If you just have a couple dudes on the defensive end that could play defense on your team, that's when you're really challenged. That's when you got to show, okay, all right, you got to show that you're the defensive enforcer. You know, like a situation like Andre Iguodala was with Curry, where they always had to cover his assignments because he can't defend a soul out there. That's when you know you're good defensively. But when you got Mario Chalmers, who's a phenomenal harasser, Dwayne Wade, who also could a really good defender when he's focused on defending. Udonis Haslem, who's a really good defender. Chris Bosh, who can switch off, is gonna make you look good on the defensive end. Joel Anthony, you remember him? That dude was blocking shots like nobody's business. He was 6'9", but he reminded me of a Ben Wallace, just blocking shots all day. This is what LeBron James had when he was in Miami, man. He had some really good defenders around him, so it made him look good. When he shut down Derrick Rose, I can't stand when people say, "Oh, he should be locked up." There. No, he didn't. He can't guard Derrick Rose 1-on-1. The way Derrick Rose had to worry about a shade. A player where if he got past LeBron, there was already 2 guys that were gonna lock him up, and he didn't have another offensive option to pass it to because those guys weren't hitting shots, you know. So I don't get what people are saying when they're talking about LeBron James being this great kind of defender. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta see. You know, this season his defense is really gonna get exposed even more because he's an older player now, and that team to me, I don't know if they're gonna fit well. You know, Anthony Davis is a great defender. Danny Green could play some defense, but there's other players on that team that are just not that good at defense. So LeBron's gonna be asked to play better defense because they don't really have a lot of great defenders on that team. So he's going to be exposed once again. We'll see.
I like what Lowly one said. Team intelligence is LBJ's weakness. Go ahead, Lewis.
This is exactly what I was talking about when I talked about LeBron James, and I always said this, and he knows. You know, I said this a long time ago, and then you caught it when I was like, "Yo, like I like how you said that profoundly." I said, "Team IQ always beats individual IQ," and I've always said that. That's why I said that the excuse always comes up. I said, in order to beat the Golden State Warriors, the team that LeBron has had issue with beating, in the NBA Finals the last 4 years, I said you have to play an intelligent game. The problem is that LeBron's gotten his numbers when I told you the LeBron system works when it's at his convenience. But I don't know how they say that. That's obviously I don't see how that's hate. And talking about Kevin Durant's 35 4-point shot in 2017, I'm not gonna give Bron fault on that one. He just was able to hit a very tough 35 pull up in transition from three. And Kevin Durant says it that he's practiced that shot. And he says that. You look at some of the playoffs in Durant's career, like even in the OKC days, there's some shots that he took that he would tell reporters or he would tell in the post-game interviews that, I practiced that shot, in terms of moments like this. And then he would say that, I would get flanked if I missed the shot, but at least he had the confidence to take them. So when you look at the 2018 thing, it's the thing is, here's the thing that people always don't choose to not understand. You have to understand the moment of the game. Now, am I saying that one play determined the outcome of the game? No. But what I'm telling you is that you were only down 3 points. It was one possession. You're down one possession. You're not down two. You're not one possession. The best player in the game takes on that challenge defensively. But here's the thing. How is it that you're slowly going to Steph Curry? Steph Curry can't check you, bro, because you have a strength, you have a speed, and you have a height advantage over Steph Curry. You allowed to get switched with Ronnie Hood. Like, what do you think was going to happen? I mean, there were fans in the audience that were saying no, because they had a feeling KD was going to hit that shot. And they were saying, I don't understand that you can guard 1 through 5. Well, why didn't you guard Kevin Durant in that last possession, man? Especially because you could have gotten the ball back if you would have done that. But you didn't do that. And see, that's a bad taste in the mouth, because the thing is, you had a chance to cut the series down 2-1 if you would have made a play and then see what happens on the offensive end. You never know. But the problem is what I told you in that series. LeBron quit after game 1. That's why he wanted no part of the team. And the funny thing is that I keep telling you, if you watch that game 3, he got a lot of contributions from those guys. And if you look at the body language, they were kind of saying Ronnie Hood gave him 15 points. Like, you're telling me that that's not good enough? And he shot well from the field. And it was like, okay, LeBron, it's the fourth quarter. Take us home. Lead us to victory. And that's where his leadership did not show once again. And Kevin Durant being the best player in the game. And here's the thing. Kevin Durant cannot really guard LeBron James. But what I will say about Kevin Durant is he has accepted the challenge at the very least in trying to guard LeBron James. If you remember back in the day, Kevin Durant couldn't deal with LeBron's strength. He would get into foul trouble. Like Bron would be, and in terms of dealing with his speed, that would be a lot. But that wasn't to say that Kevin Durant didn't come right back and take it to LeBron on the other end. This whole thing, because this is the thing that I don't understand. They keep saying how LeBron owns KD. If LeBron owns KD, that means KD wouldn't be scoring the basketball as efficiently as he still does against LeBron, because Kevin Durant is, I believe, a career 30-point scorer in the games that they've played against each other. And you look at the NBA Finals. Kevin Durant's career finals average in 14 playoff games, 50, 40, 90. Okay? How many times have you said he knows that he is a walking gazelle? 50, 40, 90. That's what Kevin Durant is. Okay? Yeah. And again, and Richard mentioned about the talent. What did Kevin Durant do the moment he had the talent that he got? Kevin Durant was able to win 2 more championships, and he put the team over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then with LeBron James, how many guys has he played with that are very talented? Okay, from 2010 on. From 2010 on, he's played with a lot of talent. And then this whole misnomer about how he shut Derrick Rose down, are they forgetting that there's another great defender in Dwayne Wade that plays on that team? And who
Yep.
was Derrick Rose's best scorer? It was Luol Deng. And
Yep.
Luol Deng is a guy who's more complimentary and is more, you have to set up plays for Luol Deng to score. He's not a guy that can get his own shot like Derrick Rose. So,
Mhm.
and it wasn't just LeBron James that was guarding Derrick Rose. Dwayne Wade also guarded him as well.
Yep.
So that's what people forget.
Yep.
And also, people forget that Mario Chalmers is a pest defensively, and I'm glad Rich brought him up.
Yep.
I mean, Mario Chalmers was a pest on the defense. It's not, and Chris Bosh was very good, and it's like you can't forget about Shane Battier. I mean, like you can't. It's like there were defenders on this team.
Mike Bibby, because Mike Bibby in the older years decided to start playing defense when he got on the Miami Heat.
And you had guys like Norris Cole as well who also did that. So like there's a lot of guys, I mean, who were able to pick up the slack for LeBron. And it's like you have to understand something, man. This whole thing that LeBron plays on 1 through 5, I've always said this. Versatility doesn't always mean better. And just because LeBron is versatile at playing 1 through 5, that doesn't mean that he can actually really guard and play 1 through 5. Yeah, we're in a positionless basketball era, but that's why all these excuses always come. Okay, LeBron is a great player. Nobody says he's not great. But all of these myths that have been coming with LeBron is like I'm like, where did all this come from all of a sudden? And that's the problem, that people keep trying to make LeBron like he's this greatest thing more than he ever really was. And it's like, when it comes to like LeBron James, it's like people need to understand. I mean, it's like, and no, don't even come with that second and third option, because again, I told you, he had good players. I mean, did you remember what Kevin Love averaged in that series? He averaged 19 points and 10 rebounds. He played well enough. The players play well enough. The problem is a one-man system cannot beat a team system, okay? It goes to individual intelligence against team intelligence. Team intelligence beats individual intelligence. That's why LeBron has lost, okay? It's also the thing also that no. See, that's my thing. See, I don't understand. You guys continue to do this whole thing with objectivity in terms of hate. That continue to do with this. This not even about hate. Okay, that's being objectively and putting LeBron at his truest levels, man. Truest levels. The guy's a great player, but you guys have to continue to smell the coffee and stop making these excuses, talking about that he's had no help. He's had it. Let me see. Somehow he's owned LeBron, but he led both teams in every statistical category. Well, what I'm trying to tell you is that I didn't say that KD owned LeBron. I said that KD took it right back at him. What I'm hearing is that LeBron is on KD. That's all I've been hearing. I said, I don't know how you own a guy who comes right back at you and has a career 30 points per game average, against LeBron teams that LeBron has played on. And then you look at individual matchups. Kevin Durant, again, if you look at his game, it's very effortlessly in the way he scores the basketball. He doesn't have to work as hard. His ability to shoot over the top of a defense with his height. I mean, you look at his fundamentals of shooting, man, they're just like, it's crazy. Like, he can shoot from any spot on the floor, and it's effortless, man. It's like you really have to double and triple team Durant very hard to really force him to give up the ball, because when he gets that one-on-one, he gets the matchup that he likes. I mean, there's so many things he can do. It doesn't know the last 2 seasons with Golden State, they could have made it more competitive. They didn't play defense. You had a 29 points per game scorer in Kyrie Irving. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that talking about he hadn't had help the last 2 seasons. I don't want to hear it. The crazy part is they keep saying in 2016 that LeBron led all 5 major statistical categories, acting like if Kyrie didn't do anything in that series. Taking away contributions for the defense that J.R. Smith played, what Tristan Thompson did rebounding, the defense that they played. Like, stop, man. Yeah, you could listen, man. You could take it as hate all you want. That's not coming at him. I told you. I said it before, and he knows, and Rich knows this. And I told you. I said at the end of the day, I still got the dude in the top 10. I just don't have him as top 5, and I don't have him as the greatest. That's not hating, man. So KD shined because he's a coward, his way to a super team. I mean, people could look at it that way. I mean, I said I was very objective when I said this. Both LeBron and KD didn't win without the help they have, and I'm always going to say that no matter what. Okay, it's just again what LeBron thought. This is where I said the IQ thing comes in. I said LeBron thought that he was going to benefit from his player power movement. It's just when Kevin Durant one upped him on it, that's when he was actually done winning championships for a little bit. And this whole defensive player of the year thing, I'm gonna just make this last point. Yeah, LeBron was having a good defensive player of the year season, but it also helps, when you have some of the defenders on that team that they had. Man, Chris Bosh was a very good pick and roll defender, being able to switch. I mean, it's like it's crazy. But once that, I think LeBron finished second, I think in 2013 to Marc Gasol. But I'm like, he doesn't win it. Okay. The question is, what are you going to do the next year to make sure that you try to win that award and convince the media, convince a lot of the fans out there who you felt like you were robbed of Defensive Player of the Year? You come back with a vengeance to show that you put this beast on defense. And I'm not saying that LeBron is not a good defender. He is. I mean, he made 5 first-team All-NBA defense. So that's, it shows you that he's a capable defender. And he's more of a team defender than he is an on-ball defender. But when you quit playing defense in the prime of your career, and people have had to constantly make excuses with LeBron, how many times have people made trades? People have added pieces. Listen, man. Listen, he's had talent. It's what you do with that talent that's going to really help you if you win or lose. And like I said, if LeBron would have lost to a better team, trying to be a real true team player and a true leader that people have been claiming him to be, there's no question that LeBron would be much more respected. And then he would actually probably have more real, right, excusable passes. But it's when a guy tries to control the narrative, like a LeBron, especially when he knows he's controlling the narrative, to try to see if his fans are going to pay attention and say that, LeBron is right. LeBron is right in what he's saying. He hasn't had help. LeBron is the best player in the world. He says it. LeBron says that I'm the greatest of all time on the shot. The problem is that when you say all of these things and you fail to do what you say that you're supposed to do and you're not practicing what you preach, people are going to look at you differently.
That's a different story.
Where your legacy, it doesn't matter. Listen, man, legacy-wise, LeBron is one of the greatest, and it's set. But when you're saying you're chasing the ghost of Michael Jordan, when you say things like that, again, it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing to make sure that how are you going to look at it from a team aspect? Like, what are you going to do in terms of your team, in terms of make sure it's win? And the fact that LeBron has had a lot of excuses, and again, LeBron has done this, this whole thing of controlling narratives, along with the media. I told you, just look at Game 4 after Game 4 of 2018. That was a prime example of poor leadership. That was a prime example. You quit after Game 1. This is nothing new. Like, I don't understand how people just don't see that. This is nothing new. You can't tell me that you're this unbelievable leader. You're saying that you're there for your teammates, and then at the very end of the series, you say, well, I need to play with more cerebral players. What are you saying with that? If you need to play with more cerebral players, but you're supposed to be this team leader and you're for your teammates and you would never throw your teammates under the bus, isn't that what you just did, LeBron? So you kind of just pretty much did a hopsy moron and you contradicted yourself. And that's why you left LA. LeBron was set on leaving 2 years ago from when they lost to Golden State the first year Durant joined. Okay, so
let me get you guys to come in and get the counters in. Richard, I'm gonna let you go first because it started with Freddie Gee way back when. Freddie Gee, I'm gonna put the comment up, and then I'm gonna have you address Seer 9, Lewis, once again. But Richie Rich, here's the comment to you from Freddie Gee. It's coming up right now. Just give me 1 second so I can pull it up because he came after you personally. He said, according to Rich, Bron can't do nothing wrong. So go ahead, Rich, address that while I put the comment up.
Well, Freddie G, it's not that Bron can't do nothing wrong. It's how the media tells it about Bron. Like with him, they praise him when he has success, but when he doesn't have success, they take a dump on his teammates. So you gotta call out his flaws. You gotta call out what you see, man. And when you look at those teams he played with on that Heat squad, he had really good defenders on that team. He played for a really good defensive system that even made him have a nod for a Defensive Player of the Year award. But you got to look what was around, what the personnel, what the coaching that he had around him. Look at his days in Cleveland. It wasn't the same because that team obviously didn't have the culture that the Heat team had, where they put defense first, and they didn't have the personnel where they had players out there that were playing defense at a high level like the Miami Heat. But that's the Heat culture, man. Isn't it funny that was when he went to that team, he was finally he finally was being regarded as a candidate for the Defensive Player of the Year award, because it was the players, the personnel around him, the system that was around him, where their staple was defense, and they made sure they put players around him where could play defense around him, and it made him look better. You know what I'm saying? Because he was able to play a roamer as roamer. He didn't even guard the best players. He was a roamer, man. He wasn't even. I remember the guys that were guarding the best players were Shane Battier and Dwayne Wade on some nights. You would even see Ray Allen trying to guard the best player. LeBron James would try to run away from guarding the best players on the opposite side, the opposition. He wouldn't guard the best player until the fourth quarter. I don't know why. He was the youngest guy on that team, but that's who LeBron is, man. For some reason, he doesn't want to get shown up. He wants to. If he has to guard a best player throughout the game, he's gonna do it in the fourth quarter. I remember when PG was when they had to play against the Indiana Pacers, man. In that series that was 7 games, he was trying to guard PG, man. PG was giving them buckets, man. This is a player that LeBron is dominated, throughout his career. He has more wins than losses against PG. But I remember when he had to guard PG, decided to guard Paul George in that series. Paul George was scoring on him, man. He was scoring on him effortlessly. You know what I'm saying? Shane Battier, Dwayne Wade had to get in, and they had to help LeBron James figure that dude out. But it still went 7 games. You know what I'm saying? LeBron James does not like guarding guys one-on-one, man. He likes to be a roamer. He likes to be a guy that tries to play safety. And I think that's kind of cowardly. You shouldn't be regarded as he's a really good defender, but you shouldn't be regarded as a great defender if you don't want to get up and guard your guy one-on-one. If you can't show that you can guard a guy one-on-one, you shouldn't be regarded as a great defender in my eyes. That's how I look at it.
Facts. All right, Lewis. I sent it to you in the private chat. I want you to address those 2 comments that Sire 9 sent to you, man. Because he was addressing basically what you were talking about. Because as you were talking, he was basically saying, well, what about this? Well, what about that? But the 2 big ones was the avid chess player one, and also, what I'm saying, what if LeBron James had the teammates that Kevin Durant have? To me, both comments are laughable, but I feel like it's befitting if you respond to it, man.
Okay, so what I'm gonna say is, in terms of the players that LeBron wanted, you need to understand something about LeBron James. LeBron James, for the most part, if you look at Miami, the Miami Heat built the team around LeBron to make sure that LeBron was not going to be able to get his way. And I said, when you're dealing with Pat Riley and when you're dealing with that culture, there's no way that I'm telling you, there's no way that that LeBron was going to be able to pretty much talk his way. Because they were saying, it's so crazy that they were saying that, oh, well, Dwayne Wade had wanted Eric Spoelstra fired. And I was like, but LeBron James wanted it also, starting the season. So I'm like, this isn't brand new. And then, basically saying, well, which players did he want? You're telling me that he wanted a Steph Curry, you wanted a Kevin Durant, because he was trolling all those guys, Golden State, when they won in 2016. And the problem is that when he got, when Kevin Durant ended up going to Golden State as a free agent, whatchamacallit, I told you that LeBron already had this fear of like he already felt that he lost a series before even playing. And it wasn't even about compete. It wasn't even about trying to compete to try to beat Kevin Durant. It was, let me get my numbers, and if we lose, we'll play my LeBron system. We'll play a fast pace. We won't try to slow the game down. Let us try to go. Go up and down with Golden State, and let's just see what happens. And they ended up losing. So this whole thing about LeBron, look, first of all, LeBron had a nice little team in the 2017-2018 season, but he didn't try to make it work. As a matter of fact, when there was so much turmoil in the locker room, LeBron was nowhere near a part of that. It's funny that nobody even mentioned it, but there was issues between a lot of guys. And Kevin Love missing the game, due to anxiety. Nobody really came for his support when he had that issue. A lot of people bashed Kevin Love for that. There was an issue with Isaiah Thomas calling out the team because he felt like they weren't playing as hard. Now, I'm gonna say two things about that. In one aspect, I understand what Isaiah was saying, but number two, he was trying to get paid. So I know he wanted a contract. And, unfortunately, he hasn't got it because of the injuries and because of the liabilities that he brings on the defensive end and the fact that he's small, but he's still a good player. And I got a lot of respect for Isaiah Thomas on that aspect. But once again, with LeBron, you have to understand, at the trade deadline in 2018, you had Derrick Rose, you had Dwayne Wade, you had Jeff Green, you had Jay Crowder. You had a nice little team that could compete with Golden State, like nice solid veterans that could, bring the fight to Golden State. And I said, I thought that would be a good thing for LeBron. Like, he's got a team that can actually compete with Golden State. That's what the media said the entire offseason. They beat up on these the teams that they're supposed to beat. They struggle, and then they go on this losing streak. Then they trade the players away, and they get Jordan Clarkson, they get Larry Nance, they get Rodney Hood, and they get what's his face? Larry Nance, Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson, and George Hill, right?
Mm-hmm.
George Hill says we're gonna follow LeBron's lead. That's what he said. So LeBron is the leader of the team, and LeBron is acting like he's for the team and all that. But what happened in the postseason? LeBron James played his LeBron system the entire postseason.
Yep.
The Toronto Raptors, they never looked like a legit championship team because of DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. That tandem list wasn't going to work. Okay, that was not championship. You didn't get the feeling that they were going to be a championship team. Now I remember LeBron fans were like, "Oh, he beat the 59-win Toronto Raptors." I would have been more convinced had Kawhi Leonard been on that team last year if he was healthy. I would have been more convinced had he beat that team because of the type of player Kawhi Leonard is. But because there was no type of player like that, so yeah, it's still going to go in the record books as a win. But I'm sorry. The LeBron James system with team basketball. See, that's the thing. The LeBron James system isn't going to beat high IQ basketball teams when it comes to the NBA Finals. It's not going to work. See, that's what people continuously miss the point about. When the system benefits is when he's going to win. I'm sorry, okay? That's what it is. But you got to understand that. So this whole thing about being an avid chess player, that's what it is, man. I'm sorry. This whole avid chess player, like KD was the one that kind of won in the NBA at the end of the day, because if you look at KD's talent, he blends into a system seamlessly, and he plays team basketball. And that's the problem with LeBron James. He had to learn how to play in a system. And even when he went back to Cleveland, he went back to the LeBron James system once again, and thought that like I said, he did this again. And I'm gonna say it again. It was the same thing with the Dallas Mavericks. They won with team basketball at the time that they beat them too. So not only did Kevin Durant outsmart LeBron in his chess move, but Kevin Durant was able to make it work. Forget it. Yeah, you can say that all you want, man. It's like, again, you're not looking into the context when it comes to LeBron. You guys just go to the obvious numbers. There's never context when you guys talk about LeBron James. There's never context. That's the problem. So in terms of average chess player, KD was more of an average chess player at this point, man. I'm sorry. Well, anyway, listen, I gotta go. So I will be in the chat. Listen, I appreciate you guys. He knows and Richie Rich, man. Once again, keep it holding it down. So you know, I got to do some stuff right now. But once again, shout out to the mods in the chat. Whether we agree or disagree, I appreciate y'all. And once again, you guys can catch me on the LBFBWN News. Go check the channel out. I truly appreciate y'all. I'm not a LeBron James hater. I'm a LeBron James truth teller. Mr. Krusty Krabs is keeping his pockets. I already know what it is. All right. Deuces, man. Shout out to y'all.
Peace, man.
All right,
Thanks,
Lewis. Take care,
man. Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
Take care.
All right, take care.
Rich, I want you to tackle this one. He said, I'm slick. I'm trying to sick the dogs on him. I'm not trying to sick no dogs on you, man. I'm just basically putting people to address the comments that you said. Like this one here. Boom, Richie Rich. You need to address this comment. You the one, Freddie Gee, that's mentioning these people's names. So you instigating your own stuff.
Listen, man, Freddie Gee, you got Gilbert Arenas went off that day on Kobe Bryant, but Kobe didn't run away from the challenge. You got to see what Kobe did. Yeah, Gilbert Arenas scored most of those points on Kobe, but Kobe every time he went to go defend Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas was just hot that night, but did you follow what happened the next game when Kobe when they traveled to Washington?
Shut him down.
He shut him down. He had an inefficient night. He scored 30 points, but it took it. He had to shoot. He shot 30-something shots to get his 30-something points, man. It's not about listen, man. It's not about if a guy scores a lot of points. If you're a defender, no matter if he's hot or not hot, you don't run away from the challenge. LeBron is smart because he's not going to guard a player for the first 3 quarters. When he knows that player, you know, is most likely in his groove, he's fresh, he has all his energy. He tries to guard the guy in the 4th quarter when the guy has basically played already a high 30 minutes and is a little winded. He's going to guard the guy in the 4th quarter. So his defense might be a little more effective on that player, you know, because he knows that player has played just as many minutes as him. And all he has to do is just try to guard a little. All right, it might affect that guy's game a little because he's played a lot of minutes, and he could be more effective on the 4th. But LeBron ain't full of real basketball enthusiast. He does it. He's intimidating and trying to guard the best player on the opposing side because he doesn't want to get shown up. It's that real, bro. That's facts, and you gotta accept it. That's how it is. So take off the LeBron stand glasses for a second, man, and just look at this thing realistically. Okay.
All right. Let me address some things here. So because these cats in the comment section are saying, am I wearing, you know what I'm saying, LeBron James shoes, man? Hey, Richie Rich can tell them this stuff. I don't buy no NBA player shoes, man. I'm not hooked on that plantation though. I'm not sitting here spending $200-300 on some damn shoes, giving it to an NBA player that's already rich. What are y'all talking about, man? And the last person that I will buy shoes from is LeBron James. So please, well, salute to you, Matthew Valentine. If I'm going to sit there and buy some shoes from a basketball player, it would have been MJ at the time MJ was playing, and it would be Kobe. As a matter of fact, I think the last pair of NBA player shoes that I've had was a Kobe Bryant shoe, dog. That's the last, and I think that was about a decade ago. You know what I'm saying? When he had the Hirachis out there, man. Y'all remember the Hirachis? The Hirachis were sick. Now, those were sick. You know what I'm saying? Hirachis, that was sick. But I'm not going to sit here. Damn right, I love gang. He said exactly he knows. Why would I sit here and throw $200 to $300 of hard-working money to some damn NBA players? I know y'all do that. Y'all giving away that y'all buy player shoes, dog. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to do that nonsense, man. I could put that $200-300 into a bill, or I could put $200-300 into some groceries. I could put it into something, man. But the Hirachis, now them things were fresh, dog. That's what I was rocking. Or, you know what I'm saying, in grown man status, you know what I'm saying, I put it into some designer clothes, you know what I'm saying, or, you know what I'm saying, some nice, you know, casual shoes that I can go out and look in grown man fashion, dog. You know what I'm saying? You get to a certain level, Freddie, you 26, so you get to a certain level, you know, you kind of leave the tennis shoes alone, and you kind of just sit there and wear something a little different. Siren 9 said, raise your feet right now. Hey, Siren 9, I don't know. And we don't roll like that over here, though. We don't roll like that over here. That's what you talking about is a little suspect, brother. You need to check yourself with that one. Bring your feet up. Don't roll like that. But anyways, that's the point that I'm trying to tell people, man. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to and I'm glad Wasset said that. See, he said them jumps were fresh. I'm glad everybody said the Hirachis was nice. I'm glad everybody say that, dog. Because everybody knows. Thank you, Mr. Vegas. Foot fetish. That's a foot fetish alert right there. I'm glad everybody understand how sick those Hirachis were. The Hirachis was nasty, man. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you like Kobe, you didn't like Kobe Bryant. When them damn shoes came out, everybody was on them damn shoes. Those shoes were as close to looking as good as the Jordan 9s as you could possibly get. You know what I'm saying? And those were basketball shoes that, if I say basketball shoes that I think look good, those were basketball shoes that look good. You know what I'm saying? But today's basketball shoes, I don't know, man. The only basketball shoe that I like, because I like, if you're talking about basketball shoes perspective, I like the low cuts. You know what I'm saying? I like those, low tops. I don't like high tops. I don't like mid tops. Everybody's different, but I would like low tops. And the low top that I like is the Kevin Durant. Not because Kevin Durant's my favorite player, because trust and believe, when it comes to basketball shoes, if your shoes are ugly, whether you my favorite player or not, I will say it's ugly. But those latest KDs that have come out, I like those. I rocks with those. Those look nice. The low cut ones, I like them. But other than that, I really don't get into shoes like that, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm grown man. I'm on grown man status. So I do a little things a little different. I move a little differently. But anyways, yeah, Rich, let's get on to the last topic, man. Kevin Durant. As a matter of fact, we actually delved right into it. Kevin Durant. This man's already telling you he's taking the whole season off. He's basically in what we call a sabbatical. You know what I'm saying? And he's just basically just trying to make sure that he doesn't rush and he comes back at the right time. So what's your temperature on that Brooklyn Nets team? What do you forecast Kyrie Irving doing? Do you feel that Kyrie Irving just needs to keep everything afloat, just make sure he doesn't get injured, but at least keep them competitive so that they could build on the next season? Or do you think that they just basically need to kind of just keep themselves relevant? Or do you think they just need to take it easy and wait until Kevin Durant comes next season? So what's your take on the Brooklyn Nets, man? How do you see them projecting from this season going into next season when Kevin Durant is ready to go?
My take on it is that, KD has to take his time, properly rehab that injury. Don't rush things, because we seen what happened to Kobe when he tried to come back, where he re-injured himself. He didn't re-injure the Achilles heel, but he had other injuries that made him have to shut down his NBA season. So it's important, it's imperative that KD properly rehabs the injury, stays out, and focuses on returning, man, at top form next season. And I'm waiting. I'm waiting that I'm anticipating for that wait for next season, to see what he looks like as a player. Kyrie Irving, he put himself in a bad situation to where he has to show that, because he failed the Boston Celtics last season in the postseason. It looked like he didn't have a good relationship with those players, and he was ready to move on. You could tell by his play that it looked like he was dogging it, man. Like he wasn't taking things serious, and he failed the players around him. So he has to prove otherwise with the Brooklyn Nets. But at the same time, he has to show that he can actually last the season. This dude is injury prone, man. We hear about him having a facial injury in practice, man. I mean, what's wrong with this dude? This dude can't stay healthy. So I'm a little worried that he might not even hold up during the season to show that he could be different on this court. So you got anybody who's a Brooklyn Nets fan, they got to worry if Kyrie Irving is gonna hold up and play this season, man, because that dude is injury prone player, man, and he's always getting these injuries, man, that just come out, man. You're like, how did he get injured, man? What's wrong with this guy? But he's got to play this season, man. He's got to keep this team afloat. Kyrie can't be the man on this team. Even a KD with a blown out Achilles has to be the man because that's how it is. Kyrie can't lead a team. That's how it is. He showed that in Boston. He can't be the man on the team. You know, he can be the number 2 option. He could be a highly touted number 2, but he can't be the numero uno, man. It's just how it is. But they got numbers on this team. They got a front court, man. You saw how it looked when they played the Lakers in preseason. They got DeAndre Jordan and that other dude, man. Those guys look like they're gonna be a fearsome bunch because those guys can rebound it and can block shots. When you got competent things like that, you have a chance to make some noise, man. And they got some other players on the perimeter. They got Carl Levert. They got Den Wendell. They got Tayshaun Prince. They got that 3-point specialist that won the 3-point. I think he won the 3-point competition a couple years ago. He played on Team USA, the Team USA that didn't even win a medal this year, but that dude did 3. They got that European player. They got numbers on this team. They got a squad, man. But it's up for Kyrie, man, to show that he can lead this team to the postseason. At least they can't be a team that could miss the postseason this year because it's going to show KD. KD's going to have doubts, man, coming in because about Kyrie, man. Because if he can't lead this team to the postseason, KD's going to have doubts. He's going to be like, man, I got to coming off a major injury, and I got to come in and I got to lead this team. Kyrie couldn't even push this team to the postseason. You know, so hopefully, man, I'm hoping Kyrie can prove us wrong, man, that he can step up, right his wrongs that he did last year on the Boston Celtics and show that he's different, man. His leadership view is different. He can't be a guy that wants to always have the moment. You know, this is a different team, a different system, a different concept here. He has to let these other guys shine through because we're gonna need these players to grow. So when KD comes back, it can be easier for them. So this is a year to allow these guys to develop into something to where they can be a formidable team in the future. So I don't want to see Kyrie going out there doing ISO dribbles, trying to win every game, trying to do everything on the floor. I want to see Kyrie being a smart, cerebral player, allowing these guys passing that ball, getting these guys the ball in their spots, picking his spots, taking over when he has to, doing smart things, actually listening to the coach. He didn't do a good job at listening to Brad Stevens last year, but he has to listen to Sean Mark. So we're gonna see what happens, man.
First and foremost, Omar Page said he knows his sport. What is dude's profile name? The one that's talking. So what's your answer to that, Richie Rich?
Oh, I don't have a. My name is Richard, man. I don't have a YouTube account. Well, I have a YouTube account, but I don't really have a YouTube channel. So I mean, I'm thinking about having a YouTube channel in the future, but I just gotta think of certain content to start putting it down, right? Putting pen to paper and just thinking of what I want to do. But it's gonna be sports related. But you could just call me as Richard for right now, man. That's all. Omar.
All right. Now I'm gonna start off with Tyrone Spencer. He said Nets making the playoffs, added Kyrie, and kept most of the same roster. When KD comes back, dynasty, trust me. Me and Tyrone Spencer, man, we usually like right here eye to eye with stuff. That's facts, bro. That's the way that I see it. Kevin Durant just needs to sit his happy meal ass down. I'm gonna say that again. I want everybody to laugh because I like to use Burger King and McDonald's references. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes in my talk, when I tell y'all like Burger King, it's a wrap. Well, guess what? Kevin Durant needs to sit his happy meal ass down because I don't want him playing this year. I don't even want to see him breathing on the basketball court. Matter of fact, I want him to stay so far removed from the basketball court. If Kevin Durant is sitting next to a basketball court, standing up and cheering for his teammates, I will be hot and bothered like grits because he has an Achilles injury. He doesn't even need to be nowhere near the basketball court because someone could bump into his legs and then boom, he's injured. Or he could walk down the hallway and then boom, slip. Because people, how these games are, man. People got cold brew, they got cold beer all over the place. It's slippery. People could be trying to use mean intentions, make the floor slippery and wet, and get this man injured. I don't want him nowhere near basketball court. I just don't. I want him at his house relaxing. You know what I'm saying? Do his thing. You know what I'm saying? He's a playboy. Just be that playboy that he is. Just take the season off, man, and go shoot his shot somewhere else. Not on the basketball court, but with one of these other chicks or something, man. Just go relax and do you. Be Kevin Durant. Be that dude that you are outside of basketball. You know what I'm saying? You like to, do your little weed and smoke your ganja. Go do that. Kevin Durant like that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like his motto say, I'm Kevin Durant. I do me and I chill. That's what you need to do. Do you and freaking chill. Get away from the basketball court for one season and still work on your game. Make sure your game is still polished. It's still fresh. It's still refined. Make sure that you're making sure that your basketball game is not off kilter. So making sure that you're still doing those kind of movements and works that you were doing with Steve Nash. Just make sure you have another version of that Steve Nash where you could do those movements when you're able to. That way you could keep your basketball game afloat. Now, to Kyrie Irving's point, a lot of people said a lot of good stuff here. You know what I'm saying? In terms of Kyrie Irving, I don't want him doing too much. Kyrie Irving has this thing where he always feels in his mindset that he has to have the ball on his floor. He has to do all this extra razzling and dazzling. He has to bring the ball up down the floor. He has to be this, hybrid point guard that just wants to try to do everything. I don't want him doing that. You know why? Because Kyrie Irving is pattern-wise an injury-prone player. I don't need an injury-prone player putting too much wear and tear on his body. He's only aging. This is aging attrition, folks. You know what I'm saying? Father Time is undefeated for a reason. Kyrie Irving is no exception to the rule. Everyone has to succumb to Father Time. And I don't want Kyrie Irving as an aging point guard, because you guys understand, when point guards start getting into them high 20s, early 30s, that's when their career could either go or they basically turn from, if they were a superstar talent, to what we would call a very good talent. I don't know if you guys are noticing this, but this is what's starting to happen with Stephen Curry. A lot of people are like, man, but Stephen Curry is still balling. Stephen Curry is slowly starting to lose a step. I don't know if people have been paying attention. The Stephen Curry of 2019, 2020 is not the same Stephen Curry of 2015, 2016. He don't got that pop. He don't got that ammo. He don't got that motor. He damn sure don't got it. This is the thing with age and attrition. Kyrie Irving is a razzler and a dazzler. The problem with that style of play is when he goes east and west, a lot of cuts. See, I need him to change his game a little bit. Stop doing all those excessive cuts, because that requires you to have to, stop on a dime, then go 0 to 100 real quick. I do not need none of that stuff. That is ridiculous on so many fronts. I need him to stay away from that stuff, because that's the same thing that got Derrick Rose. And Richie Rich could tell you, because Derrick Rose was a favorite player of his. That's the same thing that got Derrick Rose injured the way that it did. I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Salutes to everyone in the chat for saying it was a good panel. Damn right, man. Anytime you have Richie Rich, you got Lewis, you know what I'm saying? And you have anybody that has a basketball mind. You know what I'm saying? In the past, we had D. Jefferson. Anybody that has a basketball mind that comes here, you guys are going to see, you know what I'm saying, that the panel is going to make sense when it comes from a basketball standpoint, because everyone here has a lot of wealth of knowledge when it comes to basketball, but it's so unique how everyone brings their variation or their iteration of how they've grown up learning the game of basketball, and then they add it into the live stream. So I like to see that difference. I like to hear the difference of blend, because I feel like we're all strengthening each other, and in the chat as well too. You get to see a wealth of people really paying attention to the game of basketball and knowing the sport. But Kyrie Irving, man, that guy right there to me is a player that gets injured a lot, and he gets injured off of the fact that he plays too hard, and he's gonna have to learn in this advanced stage of this age in basketball, because once you start getting to the high 20s, this is where things can turn around for you. He's gonna have to change his game a bit. He's gonna have to become more of a stationary player, not stationary in movement, but meaning not moving so much. You know what I'm saying? To where he's, running the offense so much. And I agree with Tyrone Spencer. He said Kyrie is the truth. Shit, I'm from Boston, and I know all of the shit from last year was not on him. That's facts. Everything from last year was not on Kyrie Irving. Jason Tatum did not have a stellar year. Jaylen Brown didn't step up and do everything that he was supposed to. So there's blames that could have gone everywhere. Brad Stevens had a lot of times that his coaching X's and O's was inept. He didn't use the right plays. And there was a lot of times Kyrie Irving wasn't nowhere near or nowhere part of that offensive scheme. And then the issue and the debacle between teammates. Kyrie Irving didn't help because of personality-wise, you know what I'm saying, and his mentality of, you know, he is kind of spoiled. So I gotta hold Kyrie Irving accountable from that aspect. But you know, the guys did not in that locker room did not give him a fair shake. And every chance they got a microphone, oh, you know, everything's always better when Kyrie Irving's not there. That doesn't help the situation. They got to learn how to keep things closed door. And I think that's why that whole dichotomy in Boston Celtics did not work. But for the Brooklyn Nets, Richie Rich kept saying it, and I have to agree. With Kyrie Irving, the biggest thing that he's going to have to do, guys, is he's going to have to accept the Robin role. Here's the problem with a lot of basketball players. They don't want to accept the number 2 role when they really are a number 2. Let me say it again. They don't want to accept the number 2 role when they are really a number 2. Kyrie Irving is a number 2, and he's going to have to accept it. He's going to have to give Kevin Durant full, you know what I'm saying, totalitarianship of the basketball team. Because I've told you guys in basketball, there is such a thing called a hierarchy, and hierarchy has to be followed, especially if you want it to be successful, because you need to define and make it very clear who's your number 1. You need to define and make it very clear who's your number 2. And then you need everybody else that's going to be the supplementary role players or the pieces that's going to encompass this number 1 and this number 2. Once all of that is figured out, you got a squad. Now, you know, every year, you know what I'm saying, depending on how other teams change and depending on how other teams, you know, scheme against you, if you're the team that's the top dog, you're going to have to make those adjustments accordingly. If you need a 3-and-D player, you're going to have to go out there and get it. If you need a player that is a ball stopper, you know what I'm saying, in terms of defense, he's going to shut down the best player every night. You need to go out there and invest in that. A guy that can stretch the floor, that can hit threes consistently, you need to go out there and get it. A spot-up 3-point shooter, you need to go out there and get it. A guy that can basically be a hustler, a Udonis Haslem type, you need to go out there and get it. So every year, your challenges are going to be different from that standpoint. And teams that were dynasties, like the Chicago Bulls, and I like to use them as the best example because they learn every year how to add a sprinkle. You know what I'm saying? They had Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant. Then when Horace Grant left, boom, insert Dennis Rodman. When Cartwright left, boom, insert, you know what I'm saying, Luke Longley. You know what I'm saying? Enter Bill Winnington. You know what I'm saying? They knew how to insert. They always knew how to do that, and they knew how to do that so well. You know what I'm saying? BJ Armstrong was no longer there. Boom, insert a longer version of him and Ron Harper. This is what championships teams do. They always make sure that they have a significant piece to add, a complementary piece that's going to bolster them up so they don't get complacent. This is how they win championships, because if you keep the same thing every time, then what's going to happen is they're going to get complacent, and that's how they can end up losing. So you need to finesse that and change that. Well, with the Brooklyn Nets, all I need for this first year is for Kyrie Irving and them to take it easy. And when I say take it easy, I'm not saying for them to just go in there and tank the season. That's not going to be beneficial to them, because obviously there's going to be pressure on them, regardless of Kevin Durant not being there, for them to at least make the playoffs, but at least coach your way into that playoffs. That way people are not hurt. There's no significant injuries. Kyrie Irving needs to take time off when he needs to take time off, load management like a motherfucker, because he's just an injury-prone player. So he's probably going to have to follow a Kawhi Leonard style of a load management situation, where in 82 games, he might need to take 20-plus games off so that his body can be ready to go in the postseason. And then, you know, if they do that, they can usher in the next season, because guess what? This is the drum roll. Bing. I'm surprised Richie Rich didn't mention it, but me and Lewis Basketball Network's been mentioning this one. Anthony Davis already put it out there. If he does not win if he's not walking in a parade and he does not win an NBA championship, he's gone from the Los Angeles Lakers. And he put the information out there through Rich Paul, right? Who happens to work for LeBron James, which we all know. And what did he say? If I'm not walking in the parade, then I'm going to be looking for a team in New York. We know ain't going to be no damn New York Knicks. Because what do the New York Knicks have that's going to be quote unquote sellable for them? But the Brooklyn Nets, that makes absolutely good sense, because you got Kyrie Irving, you got Kevin Durant, you got DeAndre Jordan, Now you have an actual center. Guess what? Anthony Davis could really play the position that he's known to really be, a power forward. That's a squad right there. That's a super team right there. That's an automatic taking over the NBA type of team right there. So this is why Kyrie Irving and company need to take it easy, because Anthony Davis already dropped the jewels out there that, hey, this situation, I don't walk in no damn parade this year in LA. I'm taking my ass to New York, and I'm gonna do a 2 for 20 with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and DeAndre Jordan. We gonna hash this thing out. And who knows? LeBron James might end up joining that team. I'll become a LeBron James fan then, because guess what? Now he knows he's gonna have to take a lesser role to a Kevin Durant. He's going to have to be Kevin Durant's number 2. And it's not a problem that LeBron James at that age, what is he going to be, a decrepit 36 years old? If he's willing to take a Robin role to Kevin Durant, fine. For the first time in my NBA fanship, I will be a fan of LeBron James, because guess what? He will be on the team where Kevin Durant could lead him to the goods and lead him to the promised land and get him back his finals average up. Remember, he's at an abysmal 33%. If he get with Kevin Durant, and let's say, you know what I'm saying, they get LeBron James and they get an Anthony Davis, they could run the table now. That's a good starting 5 right there. They could really run the table. And guess what? LeBron James get what, 2-3 more titles? Yeah, that'll bolster him up, because then he'll be what, at 12? You know what I'm saying? And he'll have what? Would that be, Rich? 6? He'll be 50%. At least he will make the pantheon of greatness the upper echelon, because remember, the upper echelon is 50% or better, folks. He'll make it then. Then I would say unequivocally, undoubtedly, LeBron James is now an upper echelon player in the pantheon of greatness. But guess what I would say? Asterisk due to Kevin Durant. Well, of course I would say that. You know I'm gonna, y'all know I'm going to, the uppercut is coming, though. It's going to be asterisk because of Kevin Durant, but at least you can now justify LeBron James being an upper echelon player in the pantheon of greatness. You can justify this now. So I would love to see that. I don't know anybody else. I would love to, because I'm hearing if Anthony Davis leaves, that means LeBron James is going to leave. And they ain't going to no damn New York Knicks. See people sitting here entertaining their brain that it's going to be Knicks. You can't go to the Knicks because the Knicks have a disastrous owner in James Dolan. Why would they want to go to a cancerous situation? They're going to go to the Brooklyn Nets because the Brooklyn Nets are motivated. The Brooklyn Nets got owners a la Alibaba and Mikhail Provorov that's willing to spend money, that's willing to make money. I mean, come on. Yeah, you guys need to go do your homework on that stock with Alibaba, man, and look at this company itself. Look at the people that own this company. These people have money. You know what I'm saying? And the NBA salary cap is going up. The next 2 to 3 years, that thing is surging. So, yeah, if they're going to have to restructure, get some players off, LeBron James decides that, hey, I can't win in the Wild Wild West. I want to come back to the East. Man, yeah, you can come to the Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant will. He'll open you open arms, because at that point, LeBron James will have no choice but to take a secondary role, because he's a decrepit 36-year-old basketball player. So now he has to give the team to Kevin Durant. I mean, this is not even a foregone conclusion. And then you got Anthony Davis. I mean, that's the starting 5 right there, Richie. I really want to know what your take on this, Richie Rich. The starting 5 of, you know what I'm saying, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, you know what I'm saying, Anthony Davis and DeAndre Jordan. How would that look to you with the Brooklyn Nets next year? This is why I want Kyrie Irving to take it easy. What's your take on that?
I mean, nobody's beating that team. That team was to form, but I mean that's a pipe dream. There's no way LeBron is gonna do that, dog. Because if this dude wants to take another hit to his legacy, man, he would jump on a team like that. And for dudes like Freddie G and Big Dad, they'd have no choice but to jump off the bandwagon, because you can't root for LeBron like that, man. You know he a true front runner. Be trying to go on teams like that later in his career just to win championships at this point in his career. Hey, man, that's why you gotta respect Kobe Bryant, dog. Remember when he said there won't be no team jumping? I'm gonna end my career Laker. I'm not gonna run. I'm not gonna jump ship if we're not gonna compete. I'm gonna end it like it is. At some point, man, you gotta let it die. You feel me? You can't just keep trying to stack the decks forming Voltrons, Megazords, as Lewis was saying, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. At some point, you just gotta let it die, man. It is what it is. He's had a good career. He's been to a lot of championships, more championships than some greats in his career, and some greats in their career. So, he's only won 3 of them. 3 for 9. It's not really that impressive, but at least he got 3 championships. So, and he got MVPs. But for him to go on the Brooklyn Nets, that'd be, oh my God! These LeBron stands that you see that are running amok, talking nastiness, talking trash, they're gonna leave LeBron after that. They're gonna be like, how this man gonna go team up with these dudes at this point, man? Some point you gotta have some dignity, some pride. You can't do that.
I vehemently disagree, Richie Rich, and I'm gonna tell you why I disagree, because you know what the LBJ apologists and the LBJ stands gonna do? They're gonna make an excuse. I love this game. It's time for y'all to laugh. I want y'all to laugh right now. You know what the LBJ apologists and the LBJ stands gonna say? Well, KD did it, so if KD could do it, LeBron James could do it too. Am I lying?
Yeah, but they're gonna be like LeBron won't be able to win no MVPs, Finals MVPs on that team.
Exactly.
He's gonna be a role player pretty much at that stage, and people gonna be like, nah, man, LeBron ain't the numero uno. He's just playing on a what you call a team like that, man? That's a mega Voltron, dog. That's what you call a team like that. A supreme Voltron. Because listen, man, you got every player is an all-star, man. And LeBron, I think he would play the power forward position. That's where he would be at.
Listen, man.
But actually, he'd be the man coming off the bench.
Shannon Sharp, Max Kellerman, all of these people. I'm telling you right now, these people that's turning on LeBron James, Shannon Sharp is going to be right there saying Kevin Durant is my best friend. He's going to be talking about Kevin Durant like my buddy and me. That's what he's going to be talking about. I'm telling you, they're going to make good of this because they know that LeBron James is going to be able to salvage some of them damn finals that he done lost if he get on a squad like that. I'm telling you guys, man, you guys sit here. Sometimes y'all be like, man, he knows his sport be saying some off the wall stuff, dog. He knows his sport say some stuff that's just cynical. But Richie Rich, tell him, how many times have I said this is not nothing new? Richie Rich known me for basically 34 years of his life, so he knows what time it is. Richie Rich could tell you, I say something that sounds cynical, and what ends up happening, Richie Rich, tell him. I want you to tell the panel. Every time I've said something that's cynical, what ends up happening with the cynical nonsense? What ends up happening with it, dog? It becomes what?
It comes true, so it becomes true, man. At some point, but
that's all
I don't think because I think LeBron would have some type of dignity, some type of pride, to not join that team, because he faced backlash from his fans, dog. Seriously.
I'm telling you right now, LeBron James ain't gonna have no shame. You know why? And see, Freddie Gee, I'm gonna help you because you're an LBJ apologist and an LBJ stance. You actually gonna have your player on my team. So with that being said, you're on my side, so I can help you out. Here's the excuse that you LBJ Brigade need to run with. Well, LeBron James tried everything he could do. The Los Angeles Lakers did not give him Tyronn Lue. Freddie Gee, get the notepads out, get that a damn scribbling. I'm helping you with your excuse right now. They tried to give LeBron James Tyronn. LeBron James was trying to get Tyronn Lue, but he couldn't get Tyronn Lue. LeBron James was trying to, get Jenny Buss to give him what he wanted so that he can make sure that he's good to go, and he couldn't get it. LeBron James, could not win in Los Angeles Lakers because the Los Angeles Lakers fans would not accept him, and the Los Angeles Lakers fans were all about Kobe Bryant and all of this, and LeBron James couldn't win because there was just so many obstacles against him, so he had no choice. Even with Anthony Davis, they both had no choice but to leave. So I hope you got the notepads out, Freddie Gee, and you prepared those excuses because that's what's going to happen. Trust and believe. LeBron James is that snake in the grass that has no shame in his face. He don't care what people think because this is class A narcissism at its highest levels, folks. LeBron James is about the bottom line of LeBron James. So if the bottom line of LeBron James is, look, I can't retire with an abysmal 33% NBA Finals average. I got to make sure that thing look like 50. I'm going to go jump over to Brooklyn Nets and get with Kevin Durant. And you know what's going to happen? You know what the excuse is going to be? Well, LeBron James spent all of his years supposedly getting in these teams where he had to supposedly build them. So it's fine at his older and decrepit years. He should decide at this stage, because he's no longer LeBron James, to play with a super team. That's the excuses, Rick. It's coming. Trust and believe it's coming. What's your take on it?
I mean, my take on it was, I mean, I stand firm, man. I just, because if LeBron knows he can't really compete anymore, I think that's when we see him get retired, man. Because you got to look at it from this point. If he don't get it done with AD, then he's gonna have to be the guy to try to, you know, go and try to and leave his situation and try to team up, just like how you say he would do that with the Brooklyn Nets. But at this point, I think he know that would be a bad move for him, and he would retire, man. It wouldn't look good. I'm telling you at this point, because you didn't see any of the past greats do that. I know LeBron's different. He had the decision and all that, but I think he would follow that mode of how these past great players have ended their career, where they just understand that, you know, they're not going to win anymore at that level anymore. It's just their time of winning is done, and they just have to leave the game. That's how I look at it, man. If he does that, man, I'm telling you, it's going to be backlash. I love this game. Made a funny point where he said that they would spin it. They would say that Nets team needed LeBron to win, you know, and it would make LeBron look good. I find that, hey, listen, that's how the media is, but I don't know. At this point, the media is starting to turn on LeBron, man. You see it, especially with those comments he made where he tried to get political with that China thing, and all. Especially if he don't win with the Lakers this year, you know, they're gonna start coming after him, man. So this dude, he's gonna be careful. I'm pretty sure he's observing that. He's starting to see the media look after him. If he puts himself in a situation where he has to go and he has to team up, he has to basically humble himself and go latch himself on to one of these NBA stars at the latter point of his career, it's going to look bad. It's going to look bad, and they're going to come after him for it. They're going to say that he's trying to add on to his legacy, but he's not going to be the #1 guy. So it's not going to count if he wins a title with these guys or not, because he's not going to be the Finals MVP. He's not going to get most of the credit, you know, so he's going to have to take a step back pretty much.
So let me ask you this last question. Every time we always think that the media could not find, the LBJ apologists, the LBJ stands, and the LBJ brigade could not find an excuse suitable for LeBron. Haven't they always outdone themselves and found an excuse for them? You don't think they can find an excuse for this? Seriously, you do not think they can find an excuse?
LeBron is not going to be in his prime anymore. He's going to be an old player, and it's going to show on the court, man. A 36, 37-year-old LeBron still trying to do what he's trying to do on the floor now, man. I don't think he's going to be as efficient. He's not going to be able to play 30, 35 minutes a night. They're 40 minutes a night. It's going to show, and they're not going to be able to hide that.
Oh, speaking of sports star, let me. He said I keep missing his comments. I got you, man. Let me make sure I get his comments.
Bring up the topic, bro. About Zion.
Okay, there you go. All right. He said, I think you missed my question. What do you think about Zion Williamson's knee troubles? Knee troubles for an athlete that size is not a good sign. Okay, we're going to run with that one. All right, here's the thing, man, with Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson is showing you guys that he has what I would say the capabilities. We see it in snippets of him dominating. You know what I'm saying? And we see the snippets of him, you know, being able to really take over the game of basketball for the next 15 to 16 years. We can see this. We see the flashes of it. The problem is he's too freaking heavy, man. And his knee troubles is because of weight issues. This guy is just way too heavy, man. He's 50 pounds overweight. To be honest with you guys, I think that he needs to drop about 230. I said 250. I said 240. I still think that's too heavy because his height. I keep forgetting he's 6'6". So at 6'6", I need Zion Williamson to be 230 pounds. Now, to some people, that's like, man, that's too light. I need him to be as light as possible because what you guys have to understand with basketball is it's an 82-game series and it's an 82-game season. And this is going to be, if he's going to make it 10 to 15 years, it's going to be a 10 to 15-year haul. So he needs to be as light as possible so that his body can absorb those shocks and his knees could absorb those shocks as much as possible so he can endure. So 6'6", 230, even that is considered heavy for 230. But I would want that at 6'6", not no damn 285. I mean, come on, that's the weight of a freaking center. I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I need Zion Williamson to be 6'6" and 230 pounds. If he does that, then he's going to be efficient. Now, don't get me wrong. You guys sit here and see that I get on LeBron James and all of this, but LeBron James has a good personal trainer. I think Zion Williamson needs to visit LeBron James' personal trainer because you guys see LeBron James' body is always ready to go year in and year out. At this level, you have money. So it makes absolutely no sense for you to be sitting there going to the corporate Popeyes, because that's what the corporate Popeyes is in New Orleans, to go to that corporate Popeyes and load up on them damn biscuits, load up on them damn chicken, load up on them damn gravy, mashed potatoes, because that's what Zion Williamson looked like to me. He looked like when he's playing on the basketball court, he looked like he done ate some damn Popeyes before he played basketball. Anyone that's done that knows what I'm talking about. If your ass that ate some Popeyes and then went out and played basketball, you are sluggish as nobody's business. That's what Zion Williamson looks like sometimes when he's playing basketball. You could tell the athleticism is there, but you could tell when he's running up and down that basketball court, he looked like he's running slanted and sluggish. It's what I call sluggish athleticism. Remember that alley-oop that was thrown to him from Lonzo Ball? He couldn't really wing it on the basket. You know why? Too much for freaking weight, man. Zion Williamson at this stage of his career should be, he should be yinging that damn rim. He should be making that rim say, whew, what just happened to me real quick? But he can't do that because he got too much weight on him. Zion is a beast. That's actually a guy that me and Freddie Gee, for the first time, have a player that we will support for the next, do what Charles Barkley did and get that rude awakening. Because you know who gave Charles Barkley that rude awakening? It was Moses Malone. Moses Malone pulled his ass to the side and it's like, look at him, look here, MFer. You're too freaking fat. You need to lose weight. That's just it. Joel Embiid, Charles Barkley had that conversation with him. Hey, you need to get your ass in shape. Some of these boys are just big boys. They got big boy genes, man. And when you got big boy genes like that, you need to be like a Kevin Love. You need to have a nutritionist on deck. You need to have a personal trainer on deck because clearly you can't be disciplined. You know, and Sire 9 said Larry Johnson plus Charles Barkley. Damn right, man. He's too freaking heavy, man. He needs to drop some weight because if he does that, now we're talking about the Zion Williamson that we want. So at 6'6", I need this dude to be 230 because what you guys are going to see is a chiseled, ripped Zion Williamson that can endure. He'll be able to endure like nobody's business. You know, he's a big boy. He got that country boy body. You know what I'm saying? But he's going to have to lose weight, man. He's going to have to do that. If he wants to be successful, he's going to have to do that. He was that kid growing up that ate everything off that plate, literally. Damn near licked the damn plate. You could tell. Zion Williamson does not let no food go to waste. You could look at him and see that. You put food in front of him, boy, that's like a fat kid that loves cake. That boy will eat everything in sight. You could tell none of that food goes to waste. So he just needs a nutritionist and he needs a personal trainer on deck 24/7, man, on the clock. Because at this level, it should not be happening. You know what I'm saying? I would love for him to be ready to go opening night, but you had a setback in summer league, and then now you have a setback in preseason again. That's scary to me, man. I'm sorry. That's scary. That is scary on so many levels. You can't be having a setback in the calendar month that the regular season is supposed to start. This is when you're supposed to be building up going into the regular season, because this is not college basketball, man. You got to get that body in shape, and you got to get that motherfucking ready. You got to get it ready. And Zion Williamson, no excuse, man. You're gonna have to drop weight, man. Get away from eating whatever you think you could eat, because here's his problem, and it's very obvious what his issue is. He has no control over what he eats, and he puts any and everything in his mouth. Am I lying? That Zion Williamson looked like a dude that just don't look like he don't look like a dude that just leave food on the plate. He don't look like that. He look like a dude that will eat everything in sight, literally. So Zion Williamson need to get this thing together, and Zion Williamson needs to understand he's at a professional level, and he's going to have to get that weight in order. What's your take on that, Richie Rich?
Yeah, my take, man. Yeah, I agree with you, man. With Zion, man, I'm disappointed, man, because we're not gonna get to see this kid play from the jump, man. And now, you know, he's not gonna have an opportunity to win a Rookie of the Year where it can help him start a nice long career, man. And we really gotta start questioning how serious is this knee issue that he has, man, because he's had this issue since high school. He's had some knee problems since high school, man. I want to see this kid, man, ball out, man, because I was watching them preseason games, man. This kid has potential, man, to be the next great player, man. Especially when he starts to expand his game more, man. He just has that it factor about him. You know, he looks like, man, he just has that transcendent athleticism. Like, he could get to spots quicker than people. He can, you know, he has that raw strength, man. He has that raw quickness at that size. At that, you know, it just looks like he could be a beast, man, on the floor. You know, he gonna handle business, man. And he looks like he's a likable NBA player, which when you look at this generation of NBA players, most of these players aren't likable. This is why, you know, they haven't found someone after LeBron yet. Kevin Durant is a great player, man, but Kevin Durant has a weird personality. You got to agree with that. I know KD's your player, but KD's personality is weird, bro. He be like a female sometimes, so I don't think the media is cool with that. Zion Williamson, man, got that approachable personality. Like, he's just a mellow cat, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, we don't know KD personally. He could be a cool dude personally, but when them cameras are in his face, he's not cool with the media, dog. They don't like him because he go off on them. Zion Williamson got that cool, that mellow vibe, man, where the media can approach him, man, and they could just chill, man. Zion's gonna answer all their questions, and he gonna have a smile on his face. He gonna be the good old boy. You know what I'm trying to say. So he looks like he's marketable from the jump, man. You know, he's not tainted with yet. So that's the NBA is looking at him, and they're like, man, this kid, man, we hope this kid does not get hurt, man. Does not, because this could be our next cash cow leading into the next era, man. And that's true, because this kid, he got it, man. But he got to stay healthy. He got to lose the weight. A lot of these young players, man, they have poor, they're eating poorly. You know, even remember when Dwayne Wade came into the league, it showed what he was eating, man, diet wise, and he wasn't working with the right trainers, man. You know, it wasn't until he got with Grover that, you know, he really started, you know, going off. You got to get yourself, as an NBA player coming up in these days, you got to get yourself the right trainer. You got to start eating right, and you got to get yourself the right trainer, man. That's gonna be have you disciplined. You know, you're not gonna be especially when you're a great player, man. That's trying to, you know, match expectations. You got to make sure you're on your P's and Q's, man. Zion Williamson, there's no more playing around, man. You're destined for greatness, dog. You gotta make sure you're on your P's and Q's. You can't play around anymore, man. So I'm hoping this kid drops the necessary weight, and he could flee having those knee issues that they're saying. They're saying that the doctors are gonna be examining the structure of his knee, man, to see what the real issue is, man. Hopefully there's no deterioration or anything like that. This kid has a clean bill of health and he could play, man. Because I'm excited to see what this kid could do, man. But it's just definitely disappointing that he can't play. They say he's gonna be out for several weeks, man. That's telling, man. So, man, I hope that kid can have a long career, man, because I truly feel he's the next it player, man. This is not a guy that's gonna be a bust. If he could have a clean bill of health, he's not gonna be a bust, man. He is gonna be that impactful player, you know, and that's facts.
Yeah, that's facts, man. I think you mic dropped it with that one. Lewis says something here that I agree with. He says Zion needs to lose weight for his lower body because his lower leg injuries are the worst for big men. Yep, it seems like he's uneven, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the thing. Yeah, Wood, we talking basketball. Salute to you, man. But yeah, man, I mean, he just needs to cut it down, get ripped about 230. And that boy's going to take over, man, because he is the next thing. You guys can already see that he is a man amongst boys. It's obvious, it's prevalent, and it's evident. Like, it's just there. The question is he going to start taking his game and his mindset to the next level and start getting disciplined? Because, you know, these young players, man, they don't take care of their bodies, man. They just don't. You know what I'm saying? And these young players, they're just not disciplined with their diets, man. So that's what he's going to have to do, man. Just like I said, he has the money. He's not disciplined himself. Sire 9 said that, you know, he's the only kid and he's spoiled. That could have everything to do with it, man. Because when you're the only kid and you spoiled like that, that means your mom put everything in your mouth. She let you eat any and every damn thing. You know what I'm saying? That boy, I told you, if we look at Zion Williamson eating at a restaurant or something like that, that boy will clean a plate. He look like he'll clean a plate. He don't look like he'll leave anything on that damn plate. And he's gonna have to learn how to make smarter choices, man, because he has a big boy's body, and he's just gonna have to get it down. Because when you look at his basketball game, there's high IQ there. You know what I'm saying? His ability to make adjustments on the fly is off the charts. When you sit there and you look at, you know what I'm saying, how he moves in the transition, I mean, it's insane what this guy could do. But if he disciplines himself with his diet, I'm telling you guys, man, we're gonna be like LeBron. Who? I'm telling you guys this right now, man, because I already see it. I see the talent with Zion, but he needs to see it. I mean, shoot, his name is Zion. That should tell you everything it needs to tell you in a stretch. You know what I'm saying? He's a whole freaking village. His name is a whole freaking village. So he just needs to discipline himself. If he does that, then I can get back on the, you know, confidence of Zion's going to take over, man, because he's the next thing. He's the next wave. But I think he just doesn't understand how big of a deal this is for him, because this could transform him and his family. This man said Shoney's. Hey, there's a Shoney's by your house, Richie Rich. He said Shoney's. Yeah, he probably going to that Shoney's buffet.
Yeah, I remember that place.
He probably going there, or he probably, you know where he going? Golden Corral.
Yeah, Golden Corral. Yeah.
That's what Zion Williamson. Y'all can find Zion Williamson at the local Golden Corral. Tearing that dude tearing any and everything up, dog. Because you know, at Golden Corral, you could put it away. Your stomach could be all coming out. You could put it away again and go back and put it away. This dude is 6'6", 285. He probably make about 14 trips, though. He might make about 14 trips, dog, in that buffet. Hey, I'm gonna be right back, man. Clean up the plate, and I'm gonna be right back. So much so that the Golden Corral people kick him out, dog. They're like, Hey, it's $14.99, dog. It ain't no $1.99. This dude treat 14 trips. That's a $1 per trip, dog. $1 per trip. That's that dude. See? Golden Corral 2 for 10. They got a 2 for 10. Damn, dog. Yeah, he probably over there in that 2 for 10, man. That boy can eat. I'm telling you, he can eat, man. You could tell he can eat. Gosh, he can eat, man. Because that thumbnail that I had up there when he was trying to turn the basketball, And he tried so hard to hold that stomach in, but he just fell so miserably at that. Zion Williamson can eat, man. That boy can eat. He needs to stop it, man. But all right, y'all, we gonna call this one Richie Rich, man. You close it out, bro.
Yeah, just want to thank He Knows for the platform again. Want to thank Lewis for coming on. Briefly, he had something to do, but want to thank him for coming on, bringing it, that great basketball breakdown that he always brings to the show. It was a great show. I feel that this show is continuing to improve. There's gonna be more basketball topics to bring forward to you guys as the season starts next week. It's a big week. See, NBA season is officially back, so there's gonna be a lot of storylines to go along with. We're gonna see what these teams are about, man. All the stuff we've been talking about is basically thrown out the door, man. Now you're gonna truly see what these teams are gonna bring to the table if all our predictions are right or wrong. So, I'm looking forward to that. We're gonna see, man. It's gonna be a long season, but we're gonna see what happens out there. But I truly believe that, the Lakers, man, they're not really gonna reach the height that they're getting. So we're gonna have to see. And if they do, I gotta live with that. So we'll see how it goes. But once again, this was a great show, and I'm looking forward to see what happens as the weeks come along. What topics, how we can involve the show more, how what other topics? Because at some point we get tired of talking about LeBron all the time, and I want other teams to emerge. I want other players to emerge so we can be able to talk about them as well. Because it gets kind of tiresome talking about LeBron, but he's the biggest guy in the NBA. So I see, why he's such an important topic every time. But I want to see what other topics we can talk about. So hopefully something more important in the NBA comes out so that we can focus on that topic. Good that you guys were able to come and interact with us. Hope to see you guys next week. Take care.
All right. Well, this is He Knows the Sport, bringing you guys that heat and that fire. Thanks everybody on the panel. Everyone in the chat. I appreciate everyone. Wood, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate him. Y'all need to check out Wood Stay Real TV, his channel. This guy's funny, man. If you want to laugh, and you want to listen to all kinds of different banters on YouTube, check that dude's channel out. Lewis Basketball, Football, Boxing and Wrestling Network News. Check him out. He got some good content on wrestling. If y'all like wrestling, I just respect everybody that came through in the chat, because we all don't have to agree, but we all love the sport of basketball. So when it's all said and done, it's about the element of sports. So appreciate everyone, man, for taking y'all Sunday out and listening on this live stream. Salute to everyone. I have respect for everyone in the chat, everyone that always comes through and show love in this channel. I respect y'all. And likewise, just make sure y'all check out those channels that I recommended. And for those that are new, hit that subscription button, comment, like, and share. And, send your Sunday's best donation. And He Knows the Sport, man. Hit that, I got my Cash App banner that I'm going to put up right now. So y'all could send a donation to that, or y'all could do super chat, preferably Cash App, but if you could do super chat too, then I appreciate it as well too. So appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great Sunday. And again, thank y'all for taking y'all time out on Sunday to listen to this panel. We're going to be livening everything up next week. I really want to talk about the Denver Nuggets, and I'm going to mention a few other surprise teams that I'm going to talk about. So Richie Rich and Lewis and whoever else is going to be joining the panel at that time, they could really delve into those topics. So peace, y'all. Be easy. Peace.
Peace.